Hey, hey. I see my two co-hosts here.
How's it going?
Hey, Jeff.
How are you?
I just had some pizza, and I'm good to go.
Show off.
Oh, yeah.
You?
What's up? What's up, Justin?
Not much, man. How you doing?
Doing good. I have Jeff here. Jeff's going to be with us
Sweet. Okay.
either momentarily or possibly the whole night. So, Jeff and Justin.
Yeah, but hey, Justin, how are you?
How you doing, man? Good. Can't complain.
Good. I'm excited to do a show with you.
Yeah, fun. We'll make it a threesome. Well, I mean, that's what it is, so.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, just the way I like it. But what's up?
I was actually listening to that song earlier. It came on. I was at Walmart, and for some reason they're playing disco at the Walmart I went to. I was like, okay, just KC and Sunshine Band. Okay.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the parody of Sir Mix-a-Lot's classic. It was "I Love Big Fronts" for me and Drew.
No, not that one.
I love Big Fronts.
Yeah.
But anyone that's listening, the reason why we're here on a Thursday night is my internet was down for the whole day yesterday.
What did you do? How did you survive?
I don't know how I survived, but I did. I mean, it was rough. It was rough, I tell you.
Isn't that funny? Because we lived without internet for for a while before actually internet became a thing. You know what I mean? So that's just funny the way that technology has evolved, and we're so dependent on internet now.
Well, I mean,
Sure, but
yeah, I mean, because as kids, we didn't really depend on a lot of things that really needed internet besides the computer. But as soon as because we had we had TV, we had we had comic books, we had video games, and this is before video games became as evolved as they are now. Whereas now it's just you need internet to play video games, you need internet to watch streaming services.
I mean, I know it's a wrestling show, but I kind of disagree with that because I can play like a lot of games I'm playing right now is single player games. They don't require. I get your point because I'm a Call of Duty head and I'm an Apex Legends head too. So, but yeah, there's argument to both sides for sure.
Right, but long story short, we have Google Fiber, which is which is really good, and there was an outage at around 1:54 p.m. And apparently there was a truck that damaged one of their devices or whatever, and I guess it damaged them pretty good because it took all freaking day, and around 9 in the morning that's when it got fixed. So
Oh, 9 this morning? Jesus.
Yeah, 9 this morning. So because at first on the website it said we'll have it fixed by 8, and then I rechecked it again. It said we'll have it fixed by midnight. It's oh fuck. I guess we're not doing a show tonight. And then I just kept rechecking. It said we'll have it fixed by 3, and then when I checked it this morning right before I left, it's we'll have it fixed. And
It's gonna be okay.
At around 9-ish, that's when I got fixed. So good. But we're here for a show. I know Wrestling Soup is doing a show. They usually start at 6:30, and we're gonna give them a run for their money. I'm playing, but
let's do it. Let's beat those guys.
Let's put them out of business.
That's right. You need Nish. I'll go nose to nose with Joey Numbas.
Literally nose to nose.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
But we have a nice packed show. We have a lot of news topics to go around. I don't know if Justin, if you brought some topics with you like last week.
Yeah, I have a few here, so I'll just remove the ones that you go over first. So,
and Jeff, I don't know if maybe there's something you wanted to go over.
I'm just a guest.
I mean, you're a guest. You're allowed to bring your own. You're allowed to be BYOB, bring your own stuff or whatever. So it's
Well, I
always
appreciate that.
it's always
BYOT, bring your own topics. There you go.
BYOT.
There you go.
Listen, I figure between you and Justin that most everything that matters is going to be covered. But you know what? If there's something that isn't that I feel compelled to bring up, I will.
And I also have wrestling TV ratings, if that helps as well. TV ratings.
It would if you had Impact in New Japan from last week and MLW from this week, because I can't find those three.
Oh, I have Impact. Trust me, I have Impact.
Okay.
So let's get started. Let me do the countdown. 3, 2, 1. What is going on, guys? We are here. It's Thursday, not Wednesday. Thursday, 8 p.m. or 8:02 p.m. Central Time, actually. And this is just a one-time thing. We'll be back to Wednesdays like we usually are. I mentioned before we started recording, my internet was down all day, so I wasn't able to record yesterday. It's back up now, and it's a threesome. We have a threesome going on tonight, folks. It's gonna be pretty hot. Joining me is my podcasting partner in crime,
Justin from Spinebuster Tees, spinebustertees.com. Also live on YouTube as well.
Hello, YouTube. And joining us with this threesome is he might be here either momentarily or he might be here all night. Depends. But Jeff Littman, how you doing, Jeff?
I'm good. What's up, y'all? I like this threesome hat.
There you go.
Hey, threesome.
See what you did there.
But we have a nice thick show to cover. We have a barrage of topics. I don't know. What do you guys want to talk about first? You guys want to talk about the news first, and then Revolution review, or what do you guys want to do?
Yeah, drive the shit, baby. It's your show.
Yep. Let's go news, baby. News.
Let's do news. Let's do news and the night on Revolution ratings.
Okay.
So, what do I talk about first? Oh, here we go. This was announced yesterday. WWE Backlash coming to Puerto Rico with Bad Bunny hosting. On May the 6th, Backlash, which is not going to be WrestleMania Backlash, but it'll actually be Backlash, will take place at the Coliseo de Puerto Rico Jose Miguel Agaret in San Juan. Ooh,
my goodness. Oof. That was beautiful.
Loved it.
Yeah.
You turned
Very
on?
authentic.
Are you turned on, Jeff?
Yeah, I hear Drew, but I see Antonio Banderas.
I'm too sexy. Backlash will be hosted by Puerto Rico's own Bad Bunny. The multi-platinum recording artist has had a long-running relationship with WWE, as he has wrestled for the company on 2 occasions, wowing fans with his in-ring abilities at WrestleMania 37. Bad Bunny talked in 2005 when I was a kid. I wasn't able to attend New Year's Revolution at El Coliseo. I remember that. Finally, 18 years later, WWE returns to the island with a massive event, and this time I won't miss it. WWE Backlash is the first premium live event following WWE WrestleMania 39 and promises a deal, Jesus Christ, with the fallout from this company's biggest event of the year. And yeah, just a quote from Triple H about this show. So this is going to be huge. Like there's no understating that. So in a span of like the whole summer, you have Backlash in Puerto Rico, and then a few weeks after that, they're going to be in Saudi Arabia for the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments, and then in July you have Money in the Bank in the O2 Arena in London.
Yep,
it's like again, that's huge, especially with Backlash, which Backlash is like kind of a big event. It's the pay-per-view after Mania, so you have. That's usually the pay-per-view.
Be a big event now. This year it's going to be a big event.
Yeah, I was saying, like in the past, usually Backlash is served as a way to kind of like have rematches at Mania, and then I guess start newer feuds and build up stars. Which I guess
I think Backlash as an event is a third-rate pay-per-view, but there's been a lot of big moments,
yes.
a lot of big moments that happen to come out of Backlash. So we can name a whole bunch of those, but But yeah, it's not treated like a WrestleMania per se, or a SummerSlam, or even like a Money in the Bank.
It's a B-list, pay-per-view generally, but sometimes they correct errors. Like if something was not received well at WrestleMania, this is their chance to fix it. But no, I think this is going to be more of a typical show, but I think they're going to turn the gas up because it's in Puerto Rico and that's sort of a big deal, and Bad Bunny's going to be there. So I don't think this is going to be a B show. I think they're going to treat it like an A show. I think it's going to be more like a Clash at Cardiff.
Yeah, they're going to treat this version of Backlash like an A show, due to the first time being in Puerto Rico in almost 20 years. Bad Bunny's going to be there. Without Bad Bunny, I don't think this would have happened, to be honest. But glad it's happening though, for sure. For sure, glad that's happening. Crowd's going to be hot. They're going to be very passionate there. If you know anything about the history of Puerto Rican wrestling, right, with the Colones, coming from Puerto Rico, they're, the fans there are very passionate, and I forgot who it was, but I don't know if it was Ric Flair or it was somebody. I forget who it was, but back in the day, they used to throw rocks in the arena towards the backstage. I probably gotta look that up and probably circle back when we talk about this pay-per-view again later on. But the fans are very passionate there, and it should be a good show, hopefully.
Do you think Bad Bunny wrestles?
I think it gets physical. Yeah, I don't know if he's gonna have a match. I don't know if a match is needed because the show's gonna sell out regardless. But I think he is gonna get physical in some aspect. Where if he gives the Miz a Canadian destroyer, well, in this case, it would be a Puerto Rican destroyer. You know what I mean? So I definitely see him getting physical in some aspect.
I mean, it's one of those things of like he's either going to get physical or he's going to have a match. Like, I honestly think he's going to have a match. It's just like, who do you put him up against? Since it's Puerto Rico, do you think they're going to have the balls to say, "Hey, we're going to give Bad Bunny a championship opportunity"?
No, I wouldn't go that far.
I mean,
if they do, let's hope it's Ali.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, against Austin Theory, he becomes, United States champion.
Right, exactly.
I don't know, but I think either way, he's still going to wrestle.
It seems like it's something that's tailor-made to publicly embarrass LA Knight.
I got something about LA Knight a little bit later.
Okay.
But you saw that rumor about Stone Cold Steve Austin and him?
Yeah.
Wait, what rumor?
Well, I guess I ruined that. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, there was a rumor today, coming from Meltzer. So take it with a grain of salt. But the plan for LA Knight is to face Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania. I mean, to me, right? If this does happen, no matter what the situation is, you can't take that away from LA Knight. It's just like with Kevin Owens and Stone Cold last year, right? Not to say that LA Knight is going to be a made man out of this, right? But that's a big deal being put with Stone Cold Steve Austin if the match happens. Now, we only got 3 more weeks of WrestleMania till WrestleMania. This may be a surprise where LA Knight just gets, in the middle of the ring and saying, like, how can you have a WrestleMania in LA without LA Knight? Then Stone Cold's music hits and he comes out.
Yeah, that sounds more likely scenario.
Yeah, like 5 to 10, it'd be like a 5 to 10 minute match, and Stone Cold wins, right? If that, I mean, but I think this is where Stone Cold's actually going to come in his actual gear. Like last year, he didn't come in his actual gear. He's, he was just, there in his, usual, shorts and, shirt, looking like 1998 Stone Cold, which is nothing wrong with that. But he's been training all year, a full year. And I think we're going to get him in the gear if he does come out. So, but yeah, that's coming from Meltzer. I mean, Meltzer's he hasn't, how should I say this with Meltzer? Like, don't take what he says, like, as gospel, right? But a lot of times, like, an element of what he says does come true in a way. So, we'll just have to wait and see, though. I'm just, I'm not holding my breath on this one, but if it happens, it happens.
Less accurate than I am. I mean, that's all. I mean, listen, this is fine, whatever. I'm sort of over having 50-something-year-old broken down wrestlers coming in and embarrassing wrestlers of today. But what I have to say is that at some point, LA Knight has to win some matches because he's sort of been the butt of everything. And you sort of doing that Pitch Black match. You thought he would have earned some credit that way to go further, and nothing's happened. And this would be, I know people think of it as a moment or whatever, and he should be a made man after that, at least for the next 6 months, and get some sort of title run, some sort of major push. He's over with the crowd, but I don't really think this does him much favors.
I think, in my opinion, I think it does more favors than not because, he has to be trusted to be put in that position in the first place. You're not just going to pay anybody with Stone Cold. If that was the case, they'll just throw the Miz out there. You know what I mean? I'm wrestling here at WrestleMania, and Miz just gets stunned by Stone Cold, and that's it. So, I'm picking LA Knight as an early favorite for Money in the Bank this year. That's just a very, very early prediction. We don't know if he's even going to be in the match or not. But, I could see if Vince is not going to be Vince, being backstage and fucking shit up, I can see LA Knight as an early favorite to win Money in the Bank. You know what I mean? So that could be a reason why he's losing all these matches right now, because that's what a lot of people with Money in the Bank do. They lose a lot of matches and they win Money in the Bank randomly. So that can happen too as well. But yeah, again, he has to be, LA Knight and Stone Cold, again, LA Knight has to be trusted to be put in this position too as well. I just hope that if the match does happen, right, give me at least 1 week build with a promo between them two, at least, because I think that'll be great. But I don't know. We'll see.
You notice how over he was in that segment on Friday with the was it McIntyre, Sheamus, Cross, New
Absolutely,
Day?
yeah.
When LA Knight came out, he got the biggest pop. So it's just and I get it, he's also pushing 40, and he's not exactly the most ring savvy guy. Which again, that shouldn't matter because the guy can talk. The guy's an okay wrestler. He's not he's not AJ Styles, but not everybody has to be AJ Styles. You just have to have a gimmick. You have to get a reaction. So it's just I'm with you. I like LA Knight. I want this guy to get over. And do I expect him to be world champion? No. I mean, I expect him to maybe be in a more meaningful feud. I mean, I can see him maybe going after the world championship. In a feud against somebody. Him winning, I don't know. Keep talking, guys. I gotta keep talking. I gotta replace my headphones. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Well, there was something come out of the Fatal 5-Way. Yeah, there was something out of the Fatal 5-Way that I mentioned last week when we heard that Kofi was injured, and I said I tweeted that, well, they'll just put Xavier Woods in there as the fifth, and it was or they can just make it a Fatal 4-Way. I'm like, that doesn't smell very much like WWE. They're just going to stick Xavier Woods in there, and it's been confirmed. Xavier Woods is the fifth man in the Fatal 5-Way for tomorrow night on SmackDown for what I presume is, to face, to be at least one of the participants in the Intercontinental match at WrestleMania. I'm not sure that'll be the last word on it, but as far as what he's saying about LA Knight, I don't think they're going to put him right into a world title picture. I could see him in the Intercontinental or U.S. title picture.
So the question I was going to bring up is, between LA Knight and The Miz, who is a better wrestler?
I mean, I think they're very similar. I just think LA Knight, as Rambling Rabbit, who is my muse, said, it's like The Miz with muscles.
Okay, so the point I'm trying to get to is that, honestly, I don't think, LA Knight and The Miz, they are comparable, right? Mm-hmm. But if The Miz can get 2 world title rings, and get The Miz was younger back then or whatnot, I'm not saying that LA Knight is going to become world champion. I could see him in a program, but to me, pushing 40 doesn't really mean much to me in the grand scheme of things, right? The main thing is that, can your body handle, wrestling day in and day out? He's a proven veteran, and I'm more than sure that he can do that. Also, as well, he's a guy that doesn't need to wrestle every single week. He's a guy that, he can, again, he's a great talker, right? He's a guy that can push fuse, move fuse forward with the promo ability alone. He doesn't need to have the high work rate like an AJ Styles would, right? AJ Styles, WWE champion, a few years ago, had a long title reign, right? And he was basically, the man with his matches, right? AJ Styles, one of his Achilles heels is that, and he's gotten better over time, but he was never a great talker. He couldn't talk people into the building. LA Knight can talk people into the building. LA Knight and Bray Wyatt, he was the best thing in that feud because he was the one that talked people into the building, per se. I mean, it was sold out, but regardless, he taught people into that feud. And make it seem like, oh man, I know his match may suck, but damn, LA Knight's been very good. I can see that with him if he holds an Intercontinental Championship, a world title. But as of right now, I don't see him in that forefront. I'm just saying that I see him as an early favorite to win Money in the Bank, if he happens to be in that match, because he seems like a guy that can really, take advantage of that and enhance his character. And also, as well, if he does cash in, he's got to make a reaction on if he does cash in and happens to win the title. It's very unlikely that he'll win the title, but again, it's just something that's my opinion on that.
No, I think your opinion is good. It's just I didn't throw back. It's just unlike WWE, with rare exception, Cody being one of them, to put someone in the world title picture before people have gotten used to seeing them with some kind of belt, at least a tag team belt or at least one of the mid-card titles. Money in the Bank, I think, fits him very well, but I have to tell you that I think Damian Priest needs to win that. He's was supposed to come out of Judgment Day as the star, and it's almost like he's the forgotten guy right now, and it's sort of now or never. Wow, you never say never, but it seems like, him and that faction can use that, because after Rey and Dominic is over, and Rhea is the SmackDown champion and needs to leave the Raw, what do they have left? Each other, which is, doldrums. So, and also his character, I mean, it's different than Austin Theory, but it's sort of the same vibe. It's not the young, cocky, buck, I'll do whatever I want, but it's sort of the, it's sort of the Ric Flair, young rock cockiness. So, I don't know. I could see it, but I think WWE likes to have their unproven people with a mid-card title before they move them on to the main event top. But it'll be interesting to watch. I mean, listen, I've liked LA Knight since he was Eli Drake, when he was tagging with Mika before he was Tangaloa. So
when he was Slate Randall and
I was gonna say about Priest is just Priest and Knight fall into that same category of guys who are like if you're gonna push him now. Like it's not like a Theory where it's like slowly build up his push because he's barely 26 or 25 or something. Same thing with like a Dominic or a Rhea. With LA Knight and Priest, they're literally 40. They're like literally 40. So it's like push them now. Like, don't wait, just push them now if you're going to push them. But go ahead.
I see Damian Priest having a big singles match in Puerto Rico for Backlash. I'm not saying that it'll be for the world title. Maybe he'll slip in there with a feud with Cody. That'll be pretty cool, even though we know Cody may win, right? If Cody's the champion. But yeah, I definitely see him being utilized in a big way at Backlash.
Honestly, what he should have done, but they've ruined it over the last several months by making Finn sort of the focal point, is he should be the one wrestling Edge at WrestleMania, but if not now, soon, and they should renew that hostility, because honestly, the whole point of Judgment Day was for, Edge to build up Damian Priest and then Damian Priest to turn on Edge, and if Edge is serious about retiring, or at least, wrestling retiring, which, means you stay away for a year or whatever, Damian Priest should be the one that retires him.
Let me go back to Damian Priest, or I mean, we're already talking about Damian Priest, but like the Puerto Rico event, Backlash.
Right.
So, Justin, you said Cody, which if Cody does win at Mania, I mean, that could be a good match. That can be a good feud, especially for Priest. what about Gunther? Priest and Gunther.
I wouldn't do that match yet because judging if Gunther's still the champion, the Intercontinental champion, I will avoid that match.
I would too.
For Backlash, at least I'll avoid that match. I see that match more on a bigger stage.
I mean, you're telling me that's not a bigger stage?
Not for Gunther, no.
Drew, you can't. If Cody wins, you can't have him go against Gunther a month later.
No. I'm not saying Cody Gunther. I'm saying Damian Gunther.
Oh, I thought you meant Cody.
Yeah.
I still won't do it because that's two heels, and that's. Oh well, in Puerto Rico, he'll get the reaction though with Damian Priest, but how would you get there though? Because if Gunther's on SmackDown and Damian's on Raw, like I'm not opposed to the match. I'm just trying to think about it logically. Like
open challenge, it's easy. I mean,
aren't they supposed to do aren't they supposed to do like a draft after Mania?
No, they're doing a draft in the spring.
Yeah, and I believe Judgment Day may end up on SmackDown. Rhea becomes champion, so
yeah. So there you go.
So that can work. That could work.
But the draft, I think, is supposed to be in October, so this year. But anyway, you can get there. I mean, I thought you meant Cody against Gunther as well. You could do Priest against Gunther.
I'm not opposed to it.
I think it'd be a good match. It's just, Priest is going to lose, and that doesn't do him any. That doesn't push him. I'm not one that really believes. 1 out of 10 times you win in a loss, but 9 out of 10 times you just lose.
Yeah. There you go. Speaking of Gunther, this is from WrestleZone. Gunther on his name change. He was on the Cheap Heat podcast, which that's Ryan Satin, right?
If it's Ryan Satin, I don't know, don't care.
No, Cheap Heat is Rosenberg.
Okay, Rosenberg. When asked about how you felt about the name change from Walter to Gunther, he admitted he would have preferred to keep the name, but knows that a name change in wrestling isn't uncommon. He said, well, the thing is, would I prefer to keep Walter? Yeah, of course, but I'm going to prefer that. But on the other hand, if you look at a wrestler's career, a name change is nothing uncommon. That happens, so I was realistic about it. And for me, at the end, it was also clear it's my real name, and the WWE obviously has obviously interest in whoever they put on the television to put their original stamp on, if that makes sense. So I expected it. Obviously, Gunther is, at the end of the day, if Gunther would be my real name and they would have changed it to Walter, the reaction would have been exactly the same. Walter is just another older German name, so I think it was more of a case of being used to a certain name. And now there's a new name, but I think, just as I expected, nobody cares about that anymore. Nobody's worried about a new name anymore. And end quote.
I'm past the whole, Gunther Walter name change thing. And to think about it too, WWE likes to create their own characters, create their own names, trademarks. Like if Walter's like, yeah, I want to keep my own name, then if they got to put Walter on a shirt, they're going to end up trademarking Walter. So if he decides to go back on, the indies, even though it is his real name, in some cases we saw with Cody Rhodes, it was just Cody for a while. You know what I mean? Even though his last name's not really Rose, but still, it's that's a slippery slope there. So I think Gunther is fine over the music change as well, all that stuff. I think a lot of times in the moment we react kind of harshly or whatnot, and after a while we just get used to it, right? Even with the single names as well, right? With when Matt Riddle went to Riddle and we just kind of got used to it. Then he went back to Matt Riddle, thank God. It's just some stuff that that I think there's bigger battles to worry about. I'd rather have Gunther being used correctly on TV, which he is right now. He's been booked magnificently ever since he became Intercontinental Champion. So I'd rather live with him having being booked correctly versus a name change.
Right. I mean, I'm way past the name. I mean, because
Right.
I'll admit I didn't like it at first. I was just like, really, like just if it's not broke, don't fix it. But now we're already at this point where it's just like Gunther is, he's a star. He's been pushed like a fucking megastar, and it's like name changes. I think name changes. Again, name changes in wrestling is nothing new, especially in WWE. WWE wants to own shit. They want to be able to capitalize shit and put it on a poster, put it on a shirt, on a video game or a toy. So I get that. I get that part. Some name changes are better than others, but it's just, for me, it's like, just, I guess if you're going to change someone's name, have it make sense for their character. Yeah. And then just don't try not to change too much about them. You know what I mean? Because, like, I always used to say Eli Drake, and then he was LA Knight, and I was like, well, I guess LA Knight makes sense because that goes with the Eli Drake LA Knight. So I was like, all right, cool. It makes sense, even though, granted, it sounds like an 80s porn name, but it's still fine. It's cool. And then when they brought him up to the main roster and they made him Max Dupree for whatever fucking reason, I was just like, that's fucking stupid. Just make him LA Knight. Like, the guy's money. And luckily they changed it back to LA Knight, and it worked. So, but yeah, again, we're past that. But Jeff, go ahead.
About a year ago when this happened, Steve and I did an episode of Hammerlock Hangover, which we entitled "There Are No Tough Walters." So, I mean, Walter was a crappy name to begin with, and aside from that, I agree with every single thing that Justin said. And this is just old, so I know you said you're past it, but you also brought it up, so I have nothing to add to it, because, I wasn't that particularly interested in it then, and I'm less so now.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, it was just a news clip that I thought was kind of interesting. I just didn't want
more interesting news, like what Lachlan Murdoch said, the MLW suit. I mean, we have juicy recent things. Vince's mustache.
Yeah, yeah, his mustache.
I mean, he looks like Winston Wolfe from Pulp Fiction.
He looks like my dad.
Even though the pictures going around are fake, but still, a lot of people saying he looks like Gomez Adams.
Well, where's Mortis?
Vince McMahon, the newest WWE superstar.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just brought it up. But anyways, more news. What else do we talk about? So, Wells Fargo analysis says Fox unlikely to renew WWE SmackDown and increase rights fee. I know this is probably up Jeff's alley. So, WWE domestic television rights are up for negotiation and renewal this year for broadcasts effective September 2024. This is at least the stated reason for why Vince McMahon returned to the company's board of directors to steer an attempt to sell the company. In particular, given the expense of sports media rights, the idea was that one distribution partner might entertain buying the company outright. Last month, though, the idea was complicated by the report that Comcast, one of the most theoretically likely buyers with its approximately $465 million year commitment for WWE Raw on USA Network and WWE Network on Peacock, was not interested in buying the wrestling company. On Tuesday, a new wrinkle surfaced that throws another wrench into what's going on. If Fox were to renew WWE SmackDown, it would not be an increased rate over its current $205 million a year. Forbes Sports Money editor Mike Azanian tweeted a screenshot from a presentation generated by Wells Fargo security analysts about WWE's domestic media rights prospects. The main takeaway was that they don't think Fox is willing to do a new deal at a higher price. He adds that it's possible that this could lead to the price of WWE SmackDown, or just SmackDown, being partially underwritten by a streaming partner in the new contract, or the show outright leaving its current spot on Fox. And there's, I guess, a little bit more. The Hollywood Reporter, in detailing the WWE Fox negotiations back in May 2018, noted that Fox Corporation Chairman Rupert Murdoch played heavily on the McMahon family's insecurities during their talks, including that Comcast NBC Universal was embarrassed by our product. His son, CEO Lachlan Murdoch, laid it on thicker, reportedly adding that in reporter Marisa Guthrie's words, that the deal would herald the marriage of the Murdochs and the McMahons, rebel outsiders who had built media empires. So, thoughts on that?
I think it's interesting because these families are, in a lot of ways, they're sort of counterparts of each other. There's a lot of similarities to them. The show Succession is based on the Murdochs, but I know there's a lot of people who think the show Succession is based on the McMahons, and there's other people who think it's based on the Trumps, but the Trumps never had a publicly traded company, so that sort of rules that one out. Anyway, it is the Murdochs, so this is interesting. But listen, Wells Fargo is one of about 200 or so, major financial institutions that makes projections and predictions. They are as often wrong as anyone else, and Wells Fargo, what they do best is find new ways to violate their own customers with hidden fees, get class action suits, settle, and promise they'll never do it again in front of Congress, and then 2 years later do the exact same thing, just in a sneakier kind of a fee. So, I wouldn't necessarily go into what they say and think that it's any more than one person's opinion. Lachlan Murdoch said we're ready to engage with them, so that's hardly a rebuff. But these are negotiations. No one's going to say we're so excited to talk to our partner. I mean, Tony Khan would, but most people don't say we're so excited to talk to our partners. We're so looking for. We really want them on the show. I mean, no one gives away the farm like that. But the economics of TV are changing. I think people overestimate the value of streaming services. I cannot express enough to people out there that there is not a single streaming service, not one, that has ever made a profit. Ever. Netflix has never been profitable. And Apple and Amazon, they are not. They are loss leaders for their other products. And Peacock admitted that they're on a 10-year plan to just get to break even. So there's not a single streaming service that makes money. There's a bunch of streaming services that you've forgotten about that have already folded. There's others that you don't even know exist that are sort of ad subsidized. So I wouldn't read anything into this. I think the sports bubble generally has to burst, maybe even the NFL, but it won't start with them. It'll start with the lower end. So if the lowest end is wrestling, I believe that argument. So I wouldn't be surprised if they don't get, the double raise that they got last time. But I would expect that they would get some raise. And Fox is not the only suitor. I'm not sure that it ever really fit that well with Fox or not, but we'll see. I don't think that Vince and WWE and Nick Khan is that they are afraid of negotiations. They've had serious negotiations before, and at the end they all go out and break bread and have wine together. These are big boys playing in a big boy lot, and I would just let it all play out. I don't think Fox is going to buy WWE. There's no reason for it. They don't need that kind of IP. That's Comcast or even a Disney makes a lot more sense.
I mentioned this I think it was a few weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago at this point, but ESPN has been struggling for content, and I think WWE would be a perfect place for ESPN. I'm not saying that's going to happen. Well, what I am saying is that ESPN, they need more content. The only time that ESPN gets their content is with First Take and any live sporting events. That's it. Sports Center is not getting as much viewership as it was, even 5 years ago at this particular point in time. They've been pushing ESPN Plus for a few years now, and to my knowledge, it's just been to mediocre type of it's just been performing mediocrely. We'll say that, but I will think that ESPN will want to try to bid for the rights for WWE as far as on the SmackDown side of things, and try to get SmackDown on their network, because again, what's going on Friday nights on ESPN, during the during this time of year is the NBA. They'll play NBA, but outside of that, there's really nothing that will be on ESPN on a Friday night. So Is either that or they move it back to Tuesday. They could probably do that again. Go back to Tuesday. But in reference to this with Fox, I mean, I agree with Jeff. 100%. I mean, I don't really, see Fox buying WWE outright. And I don't see WWE getting what they want to get as far as the type of money that they're getting. So if they're gonna get any money, it's not gonna be as much as it was this past time. So
there's a major problem with ESPN. Everything you said makes sense. Actually, there's a couple major problems with ESPN. One is they don't have self autonomy. They are an independent division. Well, they have a semi-autonomous division, but they're part of ABC, which is part of Disney. And on top of that, Disney's trying to sell ESPN, so it's hard to buy a large asset when you're trying to be sold. It eliminates a lot of your potential buyers because they may not want a new, $7.5 billion, indebtiture or however ESPN might finance it. The other problem is that ESPN is compartmentalized. It has international independent affiliates as well. So I think people know that AEW is on ESPN2 in Australia, New Zealand, and the Pacific Islands, but it's certainly not on ESPN2 in North America and in most other places. It's sort of like when WWE is on.
It's on TSN in Canada. Well, what's the Canada one? TSN that they're on.
Yeah, but the point is that there's different branches of ESPN, right. So they would all have to be on board for an investment that big, and that is difficult to do. But the bigger issue is the fact that Disney's actively trying to sell ESPN. So the rule of thumb is if you're trying to sell something, you don't take on another asset that may not be looked favorably upon, especially an asset that's trying to sell itself to someone else. Well, if you want a WWE, why would you buy ESPN? You can just buy WWE and then wait for ESPN you could flip it. You could flip WWE and just turn around and try to sell it back to ESPN. So I don't see it. There's too many giant. I mean, these are like Stonehenge, lintel stones, or to dolmens, size dominoes that would have to fall in the right direction. So I don't see that one happening.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't have much to add to this. You guys seem to know a lot more about businesses than I do.
Wait till we talk to you about girls.
Ooh, I'm interested.
Yeah,
I want to hear. I want to hear about girls. Justin, what do you know about girls?
They are the fucking devil.
I love the devil. The devil's awesome. Speaking of the devil, Kane apparently wants to come back to WWE. He wants to come back to wrestling. Apparently he's still up for more of the situation calls for. Jacobs revealed, Glenn Jacobs, in an interview with PW Mania that he will never entirely close the door on returning for one more run or even a retirement match. I'll always leave that door open. In WWE, we never say never. I don't know what will happen. I've done some stuff here and there in the WWE. There's a part of me, and it's something I enjoy. That's a part of me, and it's something I still enjoy and want to do for the rest of my life. If it's something in the ring, I don't know. Maybe you have to ask Kane that question. So, guys, do you want to see Kane have one more match in WWE?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't, but I've got to jump off. I'm sorry to be so abrupt, but we knew this was a chance. But no, I have no interest in seeing him. And, they already have Lacey Evans on the roster. They don't need to bring Kane back.
Yeah, good. But thank you for your coming on, Jeff, even if it was for a short time. I'm glad you came on.
Thanks for inviting me, Justin. It was a pleasure talking to you. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
And guys, have a great show.
Yeah, have a great show.
You have a great show too. Take care.
You too. Bye.
All right. We have a lot of reviews, especially Revolution. Well, I mean, we don't have to review everything. Oh, and also I forgot to mention. So I upgraded my Spreaker package on here. So, I think I told you this yesterday, but I'm going to tell everybody else on here. So now we can do 5 hours per show.
Sweet. I mean, I'll suspect us to do 5 hours, but sweet.
I mean, well, yeah, but there's been times where like we get to that 250 mark, and I'm like, all right, we have to start wrapping shit up because we're getting close to 3 hours.
3 hours, right? Yeah.
Right. So now we don't have to rush everything. You know what I mean? Especially if it's like a packed show, or if we have like multiple guests on. So just want to get that out of the way. Let's briefly talk about Raw, and just talk about, I guess, the high points.
I had a couple of news stories though.
Go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead, man.
Yeah. So first one I got here. Well, this is minor. If you saw NXT, Dragon Lee is officially in NXT now. Mm-hmm. He was shown off in the crowd at NXT Roadblock. So he should be debuting very soon. I would like to think that he would debut at Stand and Deliver. There's no way you're gonna have that caliber of a guy on your roster and not have him wrestle at Stand and Deliver. Hopefully, we'll see. Did you see NXT on Tuesday?
I did. I have the card up.
Okay. Yeah. So he debuted with the takeover. The takeover rub there, with him being introduced in the crowd there. So, second thing here, one NXT star comes in, another one is leaving. Saray. She's going to be leaving WWE after her contract expires from Tokyo Sports. Kind of a shame. She didn't have a real chance in NXT, I don't think. It is what it is, though. I mean, you kind of had that feeling she wasn't put on TV. She got changed into the Japanese schoolgirl gimmick, and but hell of a talent. I see her, going to Stardom. Wrestling, being one of the top stars over there. She was one of the top stars from Japan coming over to WWE. Or who knows? Maybe she shows up in AEW. I think she'll probably be a perfect fit in AEW actually. Just being that they have a lot of Japanese stars over there already, and she's already familiar with the American crowd there. So, any thoughts on Saray leaving WWE?
I kind of like you, where it's just she didn't really. I don't want to say she didn't do much. She didn't really do anything that left a lasting impression, if that makes sense.
She didn't really have a chance, really. She didn't really have a real chance to even do anything.
I mean, I don't want to say I differ because I don't want to sound like I'm like the biggest fan of hers. I liked her theme. I mean, especially, in her last one when she would do that entrance where she was, walking, in the back, and you just hear the dun 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 dun, and then as soon as she goes to the crowd, she transforms, and you hear that dun 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 dun. I mean, I always thought that was a pretty cool entrance. Other than that, I just like nothing really about her stood out to me. It's just like, and I hate to compare, but it's just like you look at Asuka. Asuka is lightning in a bottle. Kari I liked her. She stood out. And Io stood out. Sarai just to me just didn't really stand out. So, I mean, I wish her nothing but success. Wherever she goes, and I could see her going to AEW. So, we'll see. Time will tell.
I don't know. I mean, I can see her going to AEW, but again, that roster's bloated already too, and we already have our thoughts about that. So, next thing here, Brian Cage's contract is up with AEW, Ring of Honor. He's gonna work through Super Car of Honor though, which is gonna be on WrestleMania weekend. And there is WWE interest in Brian Cage. Any thoughts about Brian Cage, his contract up with AEW and WWE interest? Would you want to see him in WWE?
Not particularly. I mean, because Brian Cage to me is just like typical indie wrestler. Like the guy looks like a mini Brock Lesnar, but for whatever reason he wants to wrestle like he's one of the Young Bucks. He wants to do flips. He wants to do A, B, C, and D, and it's just like, again, I don't know what he had. I don't know whatever he had in, what was it? TNA and other companies. Like, I don't know. He didn't have it in AEW. Granted, AEW, We've said this, countless times. They don't know how to book bigger guys.
I mean, he was barely used too, as well, in AEW.
Well, I mean, when they brought him in, they really pushed the shit out of him. Like they put him in they put him in a right. They put him in a world title match with Moxley, and that's about it. So, but yeah, it's just like I don't care for him personally. I don't think he's that great. And also, I think you said WWE is interested in him. I think WWE was interested in him a long time ago, and that kind of faded away. Maybe it's changed. I don't know, but maybe if he comes to WWE, he'll be better. I don't know, but
I mean, you mentioned that he kind of looks like Brock Lesnar, but wrestles like the Young Bucks, which I mean, yeah, he does high risk moves, but I don't really personally see the Young Bucks comparison. However,
let me kind of change it. Not the Young Bucks, but he wants to do the indie stuff. He wants to do the shooting star presses and all the high flying shit, where it's just like you should be out there destroying people. You need to, like, if your name is Swolverine, like, be Swolverine. Like, go out there and just destroy people. So, I think it's just, and again, we're going to get into the AEW rants later, but it's just like, with AEW, you see a lot of their guys, like Eddie Kingston, for example. I don't hate Eddie Kingston. I think he's a good promo, but to me, it's just like Eddie Kingston is out there having the wrong matches. Like, he needs to be the sympathetic babyface to MJF's, dastardly, asshole heel, and not the I'm going to go out there and have my Japanese, fantasy matches where I chop. Like I don't want to see Eddie Kingston have those matches. He's having the wrong matches, but go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, back to Brian Cage. I can see WWE. Now, I'm not saying that he'll be world champion or top card main eventer, but I see some value in Brian Cage in WWE. I mean, he's a jack guy that Vince McMahon will love, right? You know what I mean? He will need a mouthpiece with him. That I will say, he will need a mouthpiece with him because he can't talk for shit. But there's been guys in WWE who can talk, who had a mouthpiece with them, or who had like a valet or something like that, and it's been working for them. However, though, I will say this: his ceiling is mid-card title, like IC or United States title if he does come in. You know what I mean? But I think there is some value there with him, though, for sure. Yeah, sure. Next here, we can cover this. This is minor. We don't have to go too much in depth with this here. But the last time, this is about John Cena and his WrestleMania match. So the last time John Cena had a singles match in front of a live crowd at WrestleMania that was already advertised ahead of time was 2015. He did face The Fiend in a cinematic match. At COVID WrestleMania, WrestleMania Thunderdome edition. The Undertaker match wasn't advertised ahead, despite the build. And then there was the tag team match that he had, with Nikki Bella versus The Miz and Maurice. So 2015, it's almost been a decade since John Cena had a singles match at WrestleMania in front of a live crowd that was televised ahead of time. How crazy is that?
I mean, it's pretty nuts to think about, because I didn't even think about that until you brought it up. Like 2015, that was the match against Rusev, where Rusev came out on a tank, and Cena still won. 2016, he showed up in that bit with The Rock against the Wyatt family, and then 2017, that was Taker, right?
That was in New Orleans. So was that 34?
2017. I think that was Taker. Yeah, that was Taker. That was when he was doing. Yeah, no. That was the feud with him and Miz and Maurice and Nikki Bella.
Well, yeah. So that was 33. I want to say, right?
So yeah, I think that
that was in Orlando.
Right. So I think that was the. I think that match was advertised. 2018 was the Orlando one with. Oh no, was it?
2017 was Orlando.
Okay, so 2018 was the Taker one, right?
Yeah, that was New Orleans when he was in the crowd, but that wasn't advertised ahead of time.
And then 2019, he came out in that bit with Elias where he, did the Thugonomics gimmick.
Oh, Thugonomics, yeah. 2020 was the COVID WrestleMania Thunderdome edition.
So yeah, that's crazy.
Wyatt and Wyatt and Firefly Funhouse. So, speaking of Cena here, and take this with the grain of salt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this doesn't come from a trusted source or anything like that, but just it's just something to think about. Andrew Bedala, he said, from what I can gather, Cody did ask Cena on the ramp during Monday Night Raw to promise him that he will get an opportunity to have a match or a moment with Cena like Theory did before he was done. Cena said, I can't promise that. I don't know how many I have left in me. So that's apparently what Cena said to Cody on the ramp. Again, take that with a grain of salt, but that's not confirmed. That's not news. That's not, we're not breaking anything here. But, just take this as rumor with that. So, if Cena did say that, what's your thoughts about that?
I mean, I'm kind of like you, where it's just like, take it with a grain of salt. I mean, because has Cody ever wrestled Cena? Like, ever? Like, even in, like, a tag match or something?
I'm more than sure that we've seen a match with Cody and Cena during, I want to say at least in 2009 when Cena and Orton was feuding.
Oh, here we go.
They had to at least wrestle a couple times.
Ever here. So, let's see. This was in May 5th, 2010.
Legacy versus Cena was all 2009 pretty much.
So I have it right here. 2010, Randy Orton and John Cena versus Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase. I'm sorry. DiBiase. So, but yeah, tag matches, never like a straight up match. So
I think they also wrestled in like 2012, 2013. I want to say as well. You know.
But I mean, I wouldn't mind that. I mean, because like Cena. I don't know if you have the quote right there where he talked about when he came out on Monday that he legit got choked up whenever he came out in front of Boston, who is
right.
It's his home crowd, but not technically because he was actually born in like I guess the outskirts of Massachusetts. But he talked about how he got legit choked up because he doesn't know how many more he has left in him. I mean, do it. I mean, do the Cena retirement tour. Have matches against talent that you haven't wrestled against, like him and Cody. I wouldn't mind because Cody's the new face of the company. I mean, he's getting ready to be the new face of the company.
He got a big endorsement on Monday.
Yeah, and then Cena can, Cena was the former face of the company, so he could, give Cody that rub. He can give other guys, the rub. He could give, who are some other guys? I mean, he's about to get Theory the rub.
He has a. There's names we can name
Sammy?
there, like him. Sammy, Solo, Gunther, LA Knight. Like there's names
Braun,
for sure.
Braun Breaker. Fuck, like why not?
Yeah, Braun Breaker. Yeah, for sure.
Like I mean, I can picture Cena being like, I'll show up on NXT and give him the rub. Like why not? Yeah, I mean, I'd be fine with that. A Cody and a Cena feud. Just, for Cena to kind of ride off into the sunset, why not? Let it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. Okay. Next thing here, a couple more news stories here. This is old at this point. This is from Monday, so we'll, I guess you'll hear our opinions about it, but Meltzer stated that Vince McMahon was in Gorilla all night. So, I mean, what does that tell you? He wasn't barking orders at people or anything like that, but he was in Gorilla all night. So, obviously, Vince McMahon, he was, if he'd been sleeping on a rock, he was in Gorilla. He was backstage at Raw, sporting a new mustache. All the pictures that you see out there are fake.
Right.
So, just before you go out looking for pictures, they're fake. But Yeah, they're saying he looked like Gomez Adams, but the main thing is that he was in Gorilla all night. There's been some people stating that he's just been there to see Cena. My opinion is like, okay, he had a chance to see Cena, I think was it like New Year's Eve or whatnot, or the day before New Year's Eve, when the last SmackDown of the year end of a few months ago. You know what I mean? Why wasn't he there for that? So to me, this is all saving face, a cover up. We know Vince, he's not in charge. Triple H is still in charge, but you can't tell me that he's not being influenced. Can't tell me he's not being influenced at all. Right. So Vince McMahon, he is not in control, but he is pulling strings, and it's obvious when you watch TV. How can you go from having? I'll give you a great example. You talk about Bray Wyatt, right? Mm-hmm. When Bray Wyatt came back originally, what kind of promos was he cutting?
Originally, like when he first came back?
When he first came back, what kind of promos was he cutting?
Well, he started doing, I guess, more personal promos, just like talking about himself, but
more human promos.
Again, I don't even think that was a Vince thing. I think that's a Bray thing. I think
no. This is the point I'm going to get to.
Right.
Bray was cutting more human-like promos, more relatable promos, things of that nature, right? It still had the creepy element behind it, right? With Uncle Howdy, but it was still cutting, those type of real humanizing promos, right? All of a sudden, we get back to creepy again with Bray Wyatt. I don't see that as a coincidence. I'm not saying Vince is directly involved in that 100%, but I believe he has an influence. The type of matches that we get on Raw, like before, I'll say 2-3 months ago, we were getting longer matches on Raw. Now we're getting like 2-3 minute matches in some aspects, right? Like that wasn't happening. That wasn't happening back in September. You know what I mean? That wasn't happening back in October, right? You know what I mean? This smells more of a Vince McMahon type of more of a Vince McMahon influence, right? And there's some things that I believe Triple H is still 100% involved by, I won't say by himself, but he's still 100% involved. Like the King and the Queen of the Ring tournament. Vince McMahon hates tournaments, right? He for long hates tournaments. You know what I mean? There's something that Gunther still being Intercontinental Champion. I believe Hunter is still very much involved with that. I don't think Vince is very much involved with that at all, but the Lashley and Bray Wyatt thing, almost versus Brock Lesnar, even the way that they did the women's tag team titles, like just switching it on a dime before Mania like that, like it's just screaming Vince McMahon to me. But I don't know what your opinions are about that, but since he was apparently backstage Monday night.
I mean, to me, it's just like, I'm not going to put too much stock into it, partly because it's just like, yeah, he was back there. Maybe there was another reason, because, again, I don't want to make it sound like I believe everything Vince says. I mean, because we've already talked about it ad nauseum. Like, I personally think Vince is just back to help sell the company, and once that's finished, he's out of here. Again, I even beg the question. I'm like, at this point, why does Vince want to be in charge of creative again? Especially when he's pushing it. It's like Trump. Trump talks about, I want to be president again. It's like, dude, you're almost 80. Why do you want to run anything? And it's one of those things like, we know why, but why? Like, why? But it's just like, until I actually hear the news officially that Vince is back in charge of creative, then okay. But it's like, and I asked you the question last week, when we were talking about the build-up of Mania, right? Is like, do you think Triple H is in charge of more of the important storylines, that ones actually do have a story to it, like the Bloodline, and I'm kind of rambling because I can't think of everything off the top of my head. And Vince is more in charge of like the Gaga matches, the matches that are just like, let's throw them together because they look good.
I mean, that's a certain possibility, but can't confirm that either at the same time. But he has influence for sure. Like,
oh no, I don't doubt that he has influence. I mean, the whole talk has been that Triple H at the end of the day is the one that's in charge of everything and he has final say. But yeah, like everybody has influence. Vince of course is going to have influence, and people are going to look to Vince because they're like, well, he's been here for a long time, so maybe he has good ideas. Like, I don't know, but it's just like, going back to how the show's been built lately, as opposed to how it was when Triple H first took the reins. This is like, longer matches are good in theory, but it's like longer matches should be built for matches that have have more of a story and a point to them, rather than like, we're gonna have Chad Gable versus Ali for 20 minutes because it's like, okay, I mean, that sounds like it'll be a good match, but it's like, why though? Like the bigger match,
but you gotta have that fine line. Like you gotta have like some of the fluff, but like if I'm there in the crowd, me personally, I'm talking about me personally. I'm not talking about the guy sitting next to me or the child that's down in the front row. Me personally, if I'm going to a wrestling show, I want to see wrestling matches. Right. I want to see wrestling matches that do take time. If it's like 2-3 minutes, but it expands the greater story, fine, that's cool, right? I'm not asking for a 30-minute match, you know what I mean? I'm not asking for a Kenny Omega versus Okada, right? I'm not asking for that. But, you gotta give me 15 minutes on some of the bigger matches of the night. You can't go into the final, 10 minutes of the show and there's interest still coming out and, you have your tag team match in the main event and it's 10 minutes left in the show. Interest takes 3 minutes and you only got 7 minutes of a main event. It's like, that's kind of like, what I mean? Like, that's kind of like lazy, right? And I kind of been mentioning that lately. Along with AEW, lazy booking. They've been doing lazy ass shit. Again, I asked this last week. And I know it has nothing to do with the on-air product, but this is just kind of the orb I'm getting around since Vince has King back, right? Where's the Hall of Fame? Still haven't heard anything about the fucking Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? Like, I get it that it's different for this year, but to me, everything on TV matters, right? Mm-hmm. Now, this week on Raw and on SmackDown on Friday, very good promo with Cody and Roman. Very good promo, excellent promo. Mm-hmm. A little bit too much focus on Dusty. I want to hear about, I want to hear about the championship between those two. And and how much and how important it is between those two there. I get Dusty's a big part of the story. I understand it. I just hope they kind of put that at a minimum going forward, right? On Raw, this past Raw, this has been the best story build that they had so far going to WrestleMania. It took them with 4 weeks left to do it, but we're starting getting some story build. I just hope they continue that momentum going forward.
No, I get you, because like, we're gonna talk about Raw mainly, like the bigger points, right? Because the ending is I'll put it this way without really getting too much into it. Right before we get to it, like, I thought the ending was great. There was just something I hated about it, but okay. Go on, continue with your topics.
Yeah, we got two. Was it 2 more news stories? Yeah, 3 more news stories. I'm sorry. The belief that this is some AEW news here. The belief was that FTR are locked into a long-term deals with AEW, and their disappearance and tease of going elsewhere was just a storyline cover. This is coming from PW Insider. Mm-hmm. Now, to me, look, I'll be honest. I don't think this is a cover whatsoever, and it was just a storyline. If it was a storyline, they will be mentioned on TV in some aspects, right? They'll be like, "Where's FTR?" Or they'll kind of like, if it was a storyline, they'll bring it up every now and then. It's kind of hard for me to believe that, because if they said the tease of them going elsewhere was just a storyline cover, right? Well, there was no tease of them going anywhere on AEW TV, right? You can probably get away with that with MJF, right? MJF's been preaching like, the War 2024, right? Okay, you can preach that, but it hasn't been like that with FTR. At least from what I've seen on TV, I haven't really seen that. Are they locked in with the new deal? Who knows, right? Probably gonna have to wait and see if they win the titles. If they don't win the titles against the Guns, there's probably gonna be smoke to that fire. You know what I mean? That FTR could be on their way out. So, but what's your thoughts about this with FTR? I mean, I'm not too sure you've been keeping up with what they've been doing on AEW, but what's your opinion on the whole thing here about this? Their disappearance from TV and the tease of going elsewhere was just a cover up.
Well, I was gonna say, like, it's kind of hard to keep up with anything they do on AEW since they're barely on the show. But
well, I mean, this is kind of going off of like rumors and what Dax has been saying on his podcast.
Oh, I get you.
And the news and things of that nature.
I mean, yeah, I think there's definitely smoke to that fire because it's just like a lot of things that go on in AEW. It almost seems like it's 100% a shoot because you can tell a lot of people in that company are frustrated. Even the people that were pushed, like, stars. MJF, I don't know if we talked about this last week, where apparently there was a report that there was a WWE superstar that he told, I'll see you next year. And
I wouldn't take stock into that.
Right,
yeah.
And
he just may be working. He may be working that talent for all we know.
Right. I mean, also apparently he's friends with Liv Morgan. But
right.
I don't know if that means anything. And he's also friends with Cody. Another talent. Jade posted on Twitter saying they dropped the ball with me again heavily, and she had to delete the tweet. And I mean, just a lot of talent in that company's frustrated. FTR coming to WWE or coming back to WWE. I'm sorry. I think again that's just another notch for WWE. They have another big tag team, and that's something I think they're kind of in need of. Because the Usos have been on top for so long, and there's a possibility of Sami Zayn and Kevin winning the titles at Mania. You need another top tag team besides the Usos. I mean, because we can't have the Usos just going back to the drawing board and wrestling the New Day or fucking Street Profits again. You need more tag teams, and FTR seems like a really good, formidable tag team. Them coming to WWE, I don't want to say 100 or 100 believe it, but it again, like you said, I think there's smoke to the fire of them possibly wanting to leave and come back. Triple H is in charge.
I didn't allude to them coming back to WWE. That's probably the most likely scenario. But the second question I had was that, do you see them going anywhere else instead of WWE? Do you think they'll go in the Indies for a while? New Japan? Anything like that?
I mean, I think if anything, they'll probably do the New Japan route because that seems like something they want to do. Because, Sasha Monet's doing it. So that seems like something they want to do. Maybe go to the Indies. If I had to guess, I'd say they maybe saved up their money. So they're not hurting for money. So if not WWE, I would say maybe Japan. New Japan, that wouldn't shock me. Maybe I was going to say MLW, but that's laughable. Maybe have a dream match against the Von Erichs. I don't know. But yeah, if not WWE, I would say Japan.
Okay, that's fair enough. Okay. That's it for that story. Two more stories here real quick. So Ronda Rousey has been rumored to have an injury right now. Coming from Dave Meltzer again, saying that WWE are right now of the impression that Ronda Rousey, is not gonna be healed 100%, but the impression is she'll be ready to do the match, which is the tag team title match at WrestleMania. I kind of mentioned that it should be a 6-woman tag, not the 6-woman tag that we got, but a 6-woman tag with Becky Lynch and Lita versus Damage Control versus Ronda and Shayna Baszler. At this point, they already booked the other 6-woman tag team match. So could this be double duty? Because if Ronda's ready to go, you're not. There's no way. No matter how much we shit on Ronda Rousey, right? Can't deny that she is a casual big name. Right. I find it very hard to believe with the contract that she's being paid, if she's ready, if she's okay to wrestle, to not wrestle at WrestleMania. Do you have any opinion on that, or what do you think about that there?
I mean, I think if you already booked the 6-woman tag match, it might just be their way of like, okay, we had something for Ronda to do, but she's hurt, so we're not going to force the.
Well, this came out after. This came out after the match was booked, though.
Right. But I'm saying like maybe that was the thing of like they had plans for her, but then she got hurt, so like, all right, we're just going to make it a 6-woman.
Okay.
So, and also not for nothing, Triple H did an interview a while ago where I don't know if it was an interview, I don't know if it was maybe like backstage, like quote or whatever, but like he apparently doesn't want to have too many matches on Mania. He just wants to do like maybe 4 or 5 per night, which again I'm fine with, because it's just like again, I hate to sound like I'm bashing AEW every 5 minutes, but it's just just got to be honest, it's just AEW with their pay-per-views is just like, we're going to have 12 matches. It's just like, why? We don't need 12 matches. Like, not every match needs to be on the pay-per-view card, just like in Mania. Not everybody deserves to be on the Mania card. Like, if you don't have anything for anyone to do, fuck it, have a Battle Royal. Like, have a Battle Royal before the show. Have a pre-show. Like, do that. Like, it just... And again, I have to say something mean about Natalya. It's like that one year when she wasn't even booked on the show, and then she goes on Smack Talk and just whines and says like, why am I not on the show? And then they put her on the show and they gave her a fucking title. It's like, well, bitch, maybe you should do something about it. Like, you're not on the show because you're not that interesting. Even Heyman said the same thing. Like, stop bitching about it and do something. So it's just like, Triple H, for whatever we want to tell him, Triple H is not Vince, where Vince, once upon a time, Vince wasn't going to cater to everyone's needs, only his stars. Nowadays, especially towards the end of his run, he was catering to everyone's needs. That whined about it on social media, whereas Triple H is just like, you can whine all you want, but you need to get better. Like that's Triple H. Like he shows tough love, which is missing with a lot of bookers. But yeah, it's just going back to Ronda. Don't mean to ramble, but going back to Ronda, I think she might be hurt because she's not really on the show that much. So I think again, despite what we think, or despite what most people would think, Ronda's still a star, and she still draws some kind of money and some audience, and you're not just going to leave her off the card unless she's actually hurt. So I think Ronda is hurt. And that's why she's not in a championship match or a big, high quality match at Mania.
Fair enough. Okay. All right. Last news story here that I have. Dynamite's ratings. Their ratings went up. Viewership went up. Coming out of Revolution here. 158,000 viewers here. They drew a 0.29 for the 18 to 49 demographic. They're reporting cable. So they were up from last week, being that Revolution was we'll talk about pay-per-view in a moment, but since it's been well received by majority of the people who watched, I expected to go up just a little bit there, which it did. So good for them.
Yeah, I mean, I had the ratings right here. I don't know if you want to go through just ratings in general.
Yeah. If you want to go through the other ones, since I did AEW.
All right. So on Fightful has the TV viewership numbers since 2019 for each show or each company. WWE Raw from this past Monday on March 6th drew a 1.827, which is up from the previous week. So that's pretty impressive. SmackDown from last Friday, and that was it March the 3rd, I believe?
Yeah.
Let's see. They drew the final rating. It says a 2.451, which is up from the previous week, and that was a 2.408.
Cody and Roman, they popped that rating there.
There you go. NXT Roadblock from last night, and we'll talk about Roadblock. They got a bump in the ratings. They got a 624K or 624,000. So good for them. AEW, like you just mentioned, AEW from this past Wednesday, they had a slight bump in the ratings. They drew an 859,000. So the post Revolution show. I mean, it's still pretty. Oh boy, do we even bother talking about AEW Rampage?
AEW, yeah, I don't. Yeah, I mean, it's
AEW Rampage from March 3rd, last Friday, drew 394, which is down from the previous week of 409,000. And if Jeff's listening, I'm gonna do Impact Wrestling for Jeff Littman. If you're listening, Jeff, AEW or not AEW, Impact. That's weird. There hasn't been an Impact show since February 16th, apparently.
No, there's been shows. Well, I guess I don't know if there's been ratings, but there's been shows though.
I don't know. That was funny. You're like, I don't know if there's been ratings, but there's been shows.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's definitely been shows for sure. Well,
I mean, what I meant by that was like, they're not showing any ratings since February.
Yeah, 16th, yeah. I don't know why, but yeah, for like the Motor Machine Guns was on Impact last time against I think it was the Bullet Club. They were it was that match, but it was like an in-ring pro with Chris Bay and Ace Dawson.
Holy 2010. So that's the news. Let's get into some reviews. WWE Raw. We'll just skim through this. We're not going to talk about most of the show. We're just going to talk about the big points of it. Mm-hmm. So Monday Night Raw was in Boston. The show opens with Kevin Owens versus Solo Sikoa. The match ended in disqualification after Jimmy Uso interfered. Sami Zayn came out. To make the save, and there was a backstage a backstage bit where Sami Zayn's telling Kevin Owens, "Listen, you're hard-headed. Just help me out. Help me take down the Bloodline." And Kevin Owens telling him, "I don't need you. I don't want anything to do with you. Just leave me alone." So there's that. Bobby Lashley delivered a message to Bray Wyatt. Bianca Belair defeated Carmella via pinfall. Next week is going to be Chelsea Green versus Bianca Belair. Logan Paul came out to confront Seth Rollins and knocked him out. Omos defeated Dolph Ziggler. Johnny Gargano defeated Finn Balor after Edge came out and caused a distraction. Piper Niven defeated Nikki Cross. John Cena came out to accept the match with Austin Theory. Let's talk about that for a bit. So, like we mentioned earlier, Cena came out, in front of the Boston crowd, and he was emotional on the ramp, and he mentioned, after the show, I got emotional because I was thinking this is probably going to be the last time in this building. So he came out, and immediately, Austin Theory came out and talked a little bit of shit and won a match against Cena, and Cena told him no. I'm not going to wrestle you because you don't deserve it. These fans don't think you deserve it. Yada, yada, yada. Just, a lot of people think that Cena kind of destroyed Theory on the mic. Like, I was kind of half and half on it. But, it's just what Cena kind of does.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with everyone else. I think Cena just massacred him, in my opinion. I mean, don't get me wrong. Theory did have a couple good comebacks, but Cena shows why he's the GOAT in these promos. So
yeah, Theory just kind of went to the wishing well of oh, you're old, you're going bald, and Cena's like, yeah, I am. But and then eventually Cena said, accept your challenge, but I said no because it's just like, if you beat me, what's going to happen? Which kind of makes sense because it's just like, the booking of Theory recently is just like, it hasn't been bad, but it's like, it almost feels like anything else he does, whether it's like anytime he has a big moment, he feels like the afterthought. Like when he beat, because he had a match against what's his name, Lashley, on an episode of Raw, and he beat him mainly because Brock came out, and then at Elimination Chamber, like he kept his title, but then fucking Logan Paul came out and cost Seth Rollins the title. So
right.
It almost feels like Theory is like, on paper he's being built as a big star, which he is, but it's just like he hasn't really been given that moment of like, this is the guy, where it's like we're being told this is the guy, but it's like, is he really the guy though? Because,
honestly, I think Theory's fine.
Right.
I think he's gonna be fine. You know what I mean? There's been people who's been in the past, and a lot of people say it's go away heat. It's not go away heat with Theory. I don't see that. I don't see that at all. No. Like, not comparing. I'm not comparing the same reaction, but when Orton first turned heel, he was getting a similar reaction, although a much louder reaction. 2004, 2003, much louder reaction. But I'm seeing Theory and Orton kind of the same right now, at this young in their career with mid-card titles. Young. Now Orton had a better trajectory because he was with Evolution. He had that feud with Mick Foley, all that, right? Theory's just been he hasn't really had, he has a lot to work off of, but he hasn't really had like a lot of people to work with or to bounce off of. He was like never really in a faction on the main roster, right? It's just been him for the most part. Yes, he had Vince, but this is out of prime Vince McMahon. You can't understand what the fuck he's saying. This is not like, it's me, Austin. It's not that Vince, right? It's, what I mean? This is one more tame Vince. So I think that, I said this once, I'll say it again. Theory is gonna be there in a couple years, main eventing WrestleMania.
No, I don't doubt that. Like, this isn't me like poo-pooing over Theory. I like Theory.
No, not you. I'm just saying that there's people out there who legitimate, like, they don't understand or they don't get Theory. I'm like, you do realize, like, Theory is in that, like, just think about the position that he's in right now. He's going to be in a one-on-one match with John Cena at WrestleMania. Not many people are going to get to say that, and also on top of that as well, like, the chances of him winning is about 95% because it's for the United States Championship, right? If Cena wins that, that's just really going to fucking kill Theory. 100%. As Cena said, that's gonna murder Theory, right? Theory needs to win this match, and honestly, I think it would have been better if they didn't have the United States title on the line, because it would just give it a little bit more unpredictability. But now it's kind of like fruition, like, well, Cena's definitely not a full-time competitor no more. Why would you win the United States Championship? You know what I mean? And I know Cena wants to give back as well. So just having Theory win here is the best thing to do, but I get the Theory hate, but I don't get the Theory hate at the end of the day. Like, it's kind of stupid, in my opinion.
I mean, it's anytime you push somebody that hard, it's just, you're always going to get hate, regardless. Like, Braun's getting hate because he's been pushed right out of the gate. And it's just like, well, these guys are good. Like, these guys are actually good.
Okay, so same thing with Orton, right? Same thing with, like, Rollins. He got a little bit of backlash when he turned babyface as well. And, like, look at Rollins, like, Roman. You know what I mean? Fucking Roman. He was getting booed out the building. You know what I mean? Until he turned heel. That really what helped him. But it's like, there's gonna be phases in people's careers where you're just gonna get that type of hate. And I swear to God, 2 years from now, people like him, Mello, Braun Breaker, Grayson Waller, guys like that, they're going to be on the main roster, and they're going to be the top guys in the company, because at the end of the day, how many more WrestleManias does Roman have left? How many WrestleManias does Seth has left? AJ Styles, I could go on and on. The list can go on and on and on and on. Cody's probably going to be. Cody said that he doesn't want to wrestle for that much longer either. He wants to have this nice run in WWE, and he may end up retiring. Right? He's even said that himself. So, you gotta start. And I mentioned this on NXT on why I'm so passionate about the youth movement in NXT. It's the same thing for the main roster. You gotta start building the youth. You don't want to have it where it was 10 years ago. Remember, about almost 10 years ago, you had the Shield come in originally, right? And they were really the three new young guys that were built up well. But prior to that, a lot of people were saying, "Hey, you got to start building these new guys. You got to start building these new guys. You got to start building these new guys." And you had a couple people, but they weren't transcending. You had your Sheamuses, right? CM Punk was there, right? Del Rio was there, right? But these guys weren't transcendent, right? I can see Austin Theory, if used properly, being a transcendent guy. I can see him be on the talk shows. I can see him, eventually getting Hollywood roles like Cena, like Batista. You know what I mean? So, with due time, I think the audience is going to come around on him.
Yeah, exactly. You said it perfectly. You hit the nail on the head. Theory is a blue chipper. He is their guy in the next year and a half, 2 years. There's really no doubt about that. And again, Cody's not a spring chicken. Cody's 35, 36?
Yeah.
So it's just he's not going to want to do this forever. He said in interviews before, I don't want to wrestle forever. He talked about running in politics, which I think he kind of said, I don't want to do that anymore. But I don't know. But yeah, it's just Roman. Roman's not going to be here forever. Seth isn't going to be here forever. So, I like the youth movement, and I like what we're seeing in NXT with the Bronze, with the Mellows, with Tiffany Stratton, with Roxanne,
D'Angelo's, and Roxanne,
JC, Gigi. I like what I'm seeing from this youth movement. So, in theory, I think is kind of leading that charge of the youth movement. He's going to be the guy pretty soon. Not now, but he's going to be the guy pretty soon. Rest of the show, Chad Gable defeated Baron Corbin via submission with an ankle lock. So Corbin is officially the new whipping boy. Where did I go? Okay, here we go. And then Damage Control announced that they're going to face Lita and Trish Stratus and Becky in a 6-woman tag. So we got that. Main event, which leads to the big story. Sami Zayn versus Jimmy Uso in a singles match. Sami winning via pinfall. After which Jey Uso came out and pretty much confronted his brother, making it really dragging it out. Jey telling Jimmy, I love you, but I chose a side, and hopefully you choose the right side. And he goes with Sami, and he aligns himself with Sami, saying, I got you, I got your back. And the whole crowd goes nuts. And I was thinking in my head, okay, are they going to drag this out to SmackDown? Being that the storyline, from last week was Roman telling Paul, if Jey doesn't come back on Friday, it's going to be on Jimmy. And I was like, all right, are they going to prolong this into Friday? But they decide to, bust their nut essentially on Monday. And this is where I said earlier I loved it and I hated it. And this is where I'm going to say I hated it. So Jey turns on Sami, which we already knew what was going to happen. And he beats down on him, and he's yelling at him and saying, "This is family shit. Did you really think I was going to choose you over my own family?" And then the beatdown was extremely rushed. And I don't know if maybe a match went over time, but it's just I thought the beatdown was really rushed. And then Cody comes in and makes the save, and they just stare at him and don't do anything. So that's why I didn't like about it, because I thought, here's what I thought was going to happen, was that they were going to save it for SmackDown this Friday, with the whole storyline being like, you know, Jay, if Jay doesn't come back, it's on you, and now you have to pay for it. And, you know, it can be like the whole show of SmackDown is that Jimmy stands up to Roman and be like, you know, I don't need you and I don't want you. I'm joining my brother wherever he goes. Wherever he goes, I go. So he joins up with Sammy's, you know, I guess his revolution, you know, pun intended, with Jay. But at the end of the show, they show their true colors and turn on Sammy. And at the end of the day, it's family over everything and anyone. So, you know, and that beatdown would have been that much better and gotten that much heat. And I think it would have been that much better. But, you know, I just thought that segment, it was good. I loved it, but to me, it felt rushed. I didn't like it, personally.
I agree if they had more time. I mean, that if they, let's say if this was last week, sure. But the fact that we only have so many shows left, like they gotta get the ball rolling on with Owens eventually, you know, needing to form an alliance with Sammy. You know, how much more time can they drag that out? Because that means that they're gonna drag it out another week. You know what I mean? Just to knowing the end result. So, and I was kind of thinking to myself that I'm still fine on the way that they did. It was fantastic, you know, swerve, turn, whatever you want to call it, even though we knew it was coming. But I think there could have been a little bit more heat if they did that Elimination Chamber. But again, that's small nitpicking at this point for that. I'm over that at this point. But just dragging it out even more, it's like, okay, well, we know the turn's coming. When is it going to happen? You know what I mean? And then it's like, okay, then, you know, when does Kevin, you know, gonna, you know, actually form an alliance with Sammy? You know, so I get what you're saying, but like, if this were last week, I think it would have been perfect for that to happen last week. Because honestly, I don't really think that the whole Roman and Jimmy Uso and, hey, if your brother doesn't, you know, come back and you know, you're gonna be kicked out of the bloodline, I'm gonna blame you. That was only like a week, maybe 2 shows of that happening. So to me, I think the story could have went without it, right? Maybe I think it was just there for doubt. But I think for most people, they knew what the trajectory of this feud is and what's going to be. But overall, I thought it was good. I thought it was great, actually. You know what I mean? And I think right now they're in a perfect position where they're at. They're slowly catching up. The only other thing I kind of wish was different, instead of Cody coming out, I wish Kevin Owens came out. So that way, and I know it's kind of asking for too much at this point because there's still going to be there still need to be a reason for Kevin to take Sammy's hand, like, okay, you know what, hey, let's do this together. You know what I mean? I still don't like you, but, you know, let's do this together, right? So I understand why Cody came out, but I just wish it was Kevin, just for the sake of the time that's left in the feud, because again, we got 3 weeks left. So we got SmackDown tomorrow, then we got 1, 2, 3 more Raws, and so we got 3 more Raws, 4 more SmackDowns left. So they need to start to get the ball rolling with Kevin Owens.
No, I get you. I mean, if I had to guess, I would say that's we're gonna see more of an update into that maybe next week or the week afterwards. But yeah, it's just like, again, I knew it was gonna happen. I knew we already called it. But it's just, I don't know, I just kind of wish they prolonged it until SmackDown to really get that heat, to really get a lot of heat, because it just seemed like it just happened really quick. You know, it was so quick that the audience was like, oh shit, what just happened? You know what I mean? But, I don't know, I again, loved it. The execution, I'm just like, it's too fucking rushed. I mean, I get it. We're in WrestleMania season. We're in the end game, essentially. But it's just, they really could have waited until Friday to really, really get a better response to that, a much better response. Not to say the response was terrible. I'm just saying, like, they could have had a much better response. You know what I mean? But that was Raw. Now let's get into NXT Roadblock, which was on Wednesday. Again, I'm just gonna go through the match. I'm just gonna go through the card, and then we're just gonna talk about what we liked, what we didn't like. So, first match was Tony D'Angelo defeating Dijak in a jailhouse street fight. The match was 11 minutes and 11 seconds. 6-man tag with Braun Breaker and the Creed brothers defeating Inda Sheer, Jinder Mahal, Sangha, and Veer. The match was 11 minutes and 14 seconds. Gigi Dolan defeated JC Jane in a singles match. The match was 8 minutes and 1 second. Joe Gacy with Schism defeated Andre Chase with Chase University and Duke Hudson in a singles match. The match was 4 minutes and 27 seconds. And lastly was Roxanne Perez defeating Maiko Satomura for the NXT Women's Championship, retaining. The match was 13 minutes and 59 seconds. We'll get into a few tidbits with the show. The first being the main event. We'll just get that out of the way. After the match, Roxanne Perez faded, or I guess not faded, but fainted after the match, a la, Shawn Michaels from 95 or 96? 95. Where, the story was that, he got beat up by a bunch of sailors outside of a bar, so he was selling the effects, and I guess I don't know if I would call it a storyline, but just like, I guess the whole point of the match was that she got her ass beat by Satomura, so she was selling the effects after it, and she fainted in the ring, and I liked it. I didn't hate it. I'm not really complaining about it, but maybe it sounds like I'm answering my own question, but it's just like, why though? Like, it just seemed random. It wasn't bad. I thought it was well done because, like, they really sold it to the point where it's like you have a lot of referees come out and check in on her, and you had the commentators just like stop talking, and Booker T ran out and checked on her, and they're getting her to the not ER, but like the EMT, and you hear Shawn Michaels being like, "No cameras back here, no cameras." So I thought it was well done. I just thought it was really random. But what did you think about the bit after the match?
Well, first off, the match was a very, very, very damn good match between Mako Satomura and Roxanne Perez. But the angle at the end, though, I think what it really is doing is really just to create a more, I guess, it's to create something that with Tiffany Stratton, because Tiffany Stratton is going to face off against Roxanne at Stand Deliver, right? And I guess there's creating the doubt that Roxanne is going to lose the title to Tiffany Stratton, which I don't think she is, at Stand Deliver. That's really all this angle's for, that, in my personal opinion, on the reason why they did it. Because if this didn't happen, then it's a shoo-in that Roxanne is going to win for sure at Stand Deliver. I guess this leaves some type of doubt. So
yeah, all right. I didn't think about it like that, so I guess it makes sense. Yeah, I thought the main event was good. I didn't think it was that great. I thought it was good match. They really want to build up, the credibility of Roxanne, and slowly but surely it's working. Or slowly but surely it's working. The only thing that Roxanne really needs to work on is her promos. Like, granted, she's still 21, so she's got a lot to learn. She's still doing the, as I mentioned a while ago, the "I'm happy to be here" promos. So it's just like, she kind of needs. I'm not expecting her to come out and like act like the Ultimate Warrior. Like, no, I'm not. It's just like, she needs to kind of find. She needs to find a different part of her. That's the best way I'm putting it. Find that part of you that's relatable to everyone, but sounds confident. Like, because not every wrestling promo needs to be the yelling, I'm mad and I'm a badass and I'm going to kick everyone's ass promo. Like, a lot of wrestling is more just confidence. Or wrestling promos are just confidence to me. Like, they're you with the volume jacked up to 10. Or 100, I mean. Like The Rock would always say. So, But I think she'll be fine. But rest of the show, I thought it was an okay show. The jailhouse street fight, I thought really didn't make any sense. I just thought it was kind of odd.
Yeah, I thought that was a great match. I thought it was a great opener.
I don't know. Like, if you're gonna have a jailhouse match, why don't you just do what is it, Bossman and was it Bossman and Nails or Bossman and somebody? They actually had a match inside of a prison.
Bossman. So there's two similar matches. So you had Bossman and Mountie. The loser spends a night in jail. I believe it was SummerSlam 91. Then you had Bossman and Nails, Survivor Series 92, with the nice stick on the pole. So,
yeah, just an odd match. The 6-man tag with Breaker and the Creeds. It was a fun match. Just it did its purpose. It was fun. It was interesting seeing Braun with the Creeds, where they're the shooters and he's the athletic football guy, so that was fun.
Oh, and his dad was a shooter. So yeah. Match was
it was what it was. It did it.
Yeah, it was okay. I thought the opener was better, but it was okay. I mean, it accomplished what it needed to accomplish, so there's that.
Next was not a match, but a segment. You had Grayson Waller doing his segment, the Grayson Waller effect, and he had Shawn Michaels come out and teasing, is Shawn going to come out and wrestle Grayson for one more match? Which I'm really glad they didn't, because again, I love Shawn Michaels. I'm gonna echo what Jeff Lippman said earlier. I don't want to see any more older broken down. I'm not gonna say broken down, but just older wrestlers come out and not put over younger talent. So it's just like, I'd rather see Shawn Michaels just in the back, just be a producer, be an agent, be a trainer, or whatever. So he came out, and the fans, obviously the fans loved him. They sang his song, and he did something I kind of called, where like instead of him being him facing Grayson, he's gonna have somebody else face him, and it was Gargano. Which, I mean, again, you already know how I feel about Gargano, but it's just like, this is probably the best way to use him because it has a storyline. Like, there's a way to close the chapter of like, Grayson humiliating Gargano when he left and beat the shit out of him. So now Gargano's coming back for, retribution, for, vengeance. So that makes sense.
There was a lot of people online, and I wanted to punch somebody in the fucking head when they were saying, "Oh, look at that long-term storytelling." Excuse me? This was unintentional long-term storytelling. You can't tell me that this was intentional long-term storytelling if Gargano left WWE and came... You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Just people just need to kind of understand what they're saying online, because this is not intentional. You know what I mean? But it is what it is, though. But yeah, glad that Gargano came out. Some people were thinking, like, is he going to be back in NXT? No, this is just a one-time match. You know what I mean? He's not going back to NXT. He's still going to be on Raw, main roster. So yeah, I mean, and hopefully this is the. At this point, I don't really see what they're gonna do with Grayson Waller after this. This is kind of like as a sayonara, goodbye type of a situation here. Once he loses against Gargano, I can see him going up to the main roster at this particular point in time. It's gonna be hard for him to. I won't say it's not gonna be hard for him to get over, because I think his promo ability by itself is gonna help him, right? Because he's just such a cocky dick, which is great. But I think it's going to be a little bit of a while before he actually stands out on his own in the main roster. Unless him and like LA Knight team up, they have a tag team or something like that. That'll be pretty, interesting, right? But outside of that, it's going to be a little bit of a while for him to stand out by himself.
I'd be interested to see how they handle him on the main roster, because he's not really someone I can see him being paired with somebody else, mainly because like his whole thing is I hate everybody, even other heels. So Like,
well, that's what all heels should be like. Like all baby faces, they're all friends with other baby faces. All heels should hate all other heels, but you don't get that.
yeah, right. So whatever they do with him, it's like they need to use them to his strengths and try not to expose his weaknesses. Next is Gigi Dolan versus JC Jane in a singles match. This match was incredibly rushed, and I think it might have had something to do with the talk show segment maybe going over a little too long. Because this match, I think, could have been a little longer, and I really could have used the time, and I don't know if maybe they're going to have a rematch at TakeOver, I'm assuming.
Oh, they're going to have to, yeah.
But I think it would have made more sense if this like ended in DQ, because it's like this is supposed to be a blood feud. So just have them like beat the shit out of each other, and like JC gets herself disqualified or Gigi gets herself disqualified, like just to prolong the feud. But this is a very incredibly rushed match. Like the match itself wasn't terrible for how long it was. It was just like it was very fast paced. Like it was very fast paced, like very action oriented from like the beginning of the match, and I found myself like enjoying it. But then that ending, I'm like, wait, what? So I'm assuming we're gonna have a rematch at TakeOver, which again, like you just said, it kind of has to happen. So, but what did you think about the match?
I didn't like the match.
Okay.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. I mean, obviously, you know how fond I am of these two, so it has nothing to do with them. I just didn't like the match. They just didn't mesh well together. I mean, good thing that JC got her heat back. But at the end of this all, I just didn't like it whatsoever. Maybe they'll have a better match at TakeOver. It could be due to lack of time, to what you were saying, but yeah, I didn't really like this match. They did not mesh well together at all.
All right, fair enough. Next is Joe Gacy versus Andre Chase. He defeated him in 4 minutes and 27 seconds. I was doing something else. What'd you think about the match?
It was fine. It was fine. It wasn't great. Thea Hale got in the face of Rock's daughter on the outside there. That kind of led to the distraction of Joe Gacy hitting him with that springboard, not a springboard clothesline, but like that Tajiri springing off the ropes, head spring off the ropes with the clothesline there. And gain the victory there. But really what this is really not to... It has nothing to do with Schism. It has really nothing to do with Schism as far as like with their win. It does nothing for them. They're just really teasing a breakup of Chase U. I don't know what they're going to do with Thea Hale. I don't know if it's... I think the Thea Hale storyline right now, it seems like it's kind of like the Julia Hart storyline. In AEW, so I don't know if she's gonna be joining Schism eventually. So we'll have to wait and see. But this is more of a Chase U storyline, not a Schism win, not a Joe Gacy win. Like it doesn't really do anything for that group. This win, it has more to do with Chase U. So
right.
But I was fine with the match though. It was good.
And then Braun Breaker came out to call out Carmelo. Melo came out and they just talked a little bit of shit. Melo saying, I want that shot. I want a title shot. Braun telling Melo, we were told by Triple H and Shawn Michaels, you're going to be the guys. And, Braun telling Melo, anytime there was somebody coming out here to challenge me for my title, I was a little heartbroken inside that it wasn't you. Or I think he said bummed out or let down or whatever. But this sets up their match at TakeOver, which again, that's going to be epic. These two haven't touched at all since the forming of NXT 2.0. These guys have been the cornerstone of the brand since it changed. So this is going to be a great match. Melo is the guy right now. I mean, he's the new guy, right? I mean, I don't want to say new guy right now, but like he's the guy. You know, Braun is the guy of NXT. I mean, could this maybe the last time he's on NXT after Takeover? You know, time will tell, because at this point it's just like, what else does he have to prove? So, that will be your main event at Takeover, which is on April 1st, which is going to be early in the day, which personally I'm not a fan of, like, you know, let's have early day pay-per-views, but, you know, whatever. But
I mean, they have no other choice.
Right.
Yeah, so, you know, and I'm okay with early pay-per-views, by the way, because it's...
Yeah.
Sometimes I want to go out on a Saturday or a Sunday, and, you know, by the time pay-per-views in, it's like 11 o'clock, you know, 12 o'clock if you're AEW. And it's like, okay, I don't want to go nowhere now, but... love this promo. This is, now this is the type of stuff that we need to see. This is the type of stuff that we need to see on 2.0. Like the real feeling, because like you could tell that this felt real to them, obviously, right? Like this is something that at the end of the day, like they really do feel this way. It's probably like, to me, it was probably one of the most genuine segments that they've ever done on this version of NXT. I mean, I guess it's NXT 3.0 now, I guess you want to call it, because the 2.0 has died, I guess, since they changed the logo. I don't know, but it was a very good segment. I loved it.
And that was, I mean, and we already talked about the main event, so
yeah.
That was a Roadblock. Now let's get into AEW Revolution, which happened Sunday at the Chase Center in San Francisco, California. We have the matches right here. There were 9 matches. So let's get into the first match of the night, or pre-show, I guess. Did you watch the pre-show?
Yes.
Okay, so I didn't get a chance to, but the pre-show was a 6-man. Mark Briscoe and the Lucha Brothers versus Ario Daivari, the Varsity Athletes, Josh Woods, and Tony Nese.
Very good match. To start, I mean, it was a pre-show match. I mean, what can you expect? But all 6 of these men, they look good in this match here. They've been building this story with Mark Briscoe and Smart Sterling. On Dynamite, on Rampage, you know what I mean? Who watches that? But there was a story that was here with this match. So, as expected, Briscoe and the Lucha Brothers pick up the victory.
All right, the first match to begin the night is Ricky Starks and Chris Jericho. The Jericho Appreciation Society were banned from ringside. Ricky Starks wins. The match was 13 minutes and 35 seconds.
I mean, I was wrong about the prediction here. I thought Jericho was gonna win some way, somehow, but I mean, it was a good match. It wasn't great, wasn't fantastic, but it was a good opener. I mean, there's really nothing much to say else about it. I mean, I'm glad that Ricky won, but judging what happened on Dynamite, it's kind of like you go from Chris Jericho, now you're going to Juice Robinson, and it's like, well, you're really doing this with Ricky. And Ricky, did you see anything? Did you see the media scrum?
I saw the MJF part, but I didn't see everybody else's.
Okay, well, Ricky Starks, he was on the media scrum, and he's like, hey, I'm up here now. Like, since I beat Chris Jericho, I'm going up. He says, I don't want to go back down again. I don't want to have a roller coaster. I feel like I want to go up. So, who knows? Maybe there's a bigger story to this. Maybe Ricky Starks joins Bullet Club, or I don't fucking know. I don't know. But just the first thing you do with him on paper is like you have him and Juice Robinson to begin a program. Is like, yeah. Now this is what I would have done. Are we gonna review Dynamite after this? Because I'll wait till then if we need to talk about it.
Yeah, I have the match card up. We can review it afterwards if you want.
Okay. So I'll just wait on that then. But a good match overall.
It was fine. It didn't really do anything that was that interesting or great because it's just like, again, like I think you were saying, where it's just like the build up was weird because it's like, Stark started to beat Jericho and then he ends up wanting a match against Jericho.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense.
So it was fine. I mean, it was good seeing Starks get the win, but it's just like you just said, he's in a random feud with Juice Robinson. It's like, anyways, let's move on. Next is Jungle Boy Jack Perry versus Christian Cage in a final burial match. Perry got the win. Match was 14 minutes and 50 seconds. I really enjoyed this match a lot more than I thought it would. Christian, to me, I think he needs to be in that mentorship, role that they try to put Jericho in, because I think Christian gets it a lot more than Jericho. Like Christian,
well, I mean, he technically is right now, in a way.
Well, I mean, the whole thing of like, Jericho is the GOAT. Jericho, gets over talent. It's like, no, he doesn't. He doesn't. I'm sorry. Like Christian, has done, did a lot for Jungle Boy, and granted,
I mean, Chris Jericho. I mean, I know that you're not fond of Chris Jericho right now, but he has put over some talent in AEW though. Like he has, he has. Whether you want to admit it or not,
he puts over talent. He just puts over the wrong talent. But anyways, going back to Christian. Christian, to me, I want to see more of him after this. I want to see him put over more talent. Like, I'm not expecting him to make stars. I want to see him. Well, I mean, yeah, I want to see him make stars, but I want to see him put over talent, because Christian, to me, is someone who gets it without having to kind of like pander. Yeah. Whereas Jericho is someone who's supposed to be this, wily veteran, but he likes to pander. He wants to pander to the modern wrestling fan of like, Orange Cassidy the star, Action Andretti the star, Wheeler Yuta the star. It's like Christian to me is somebody who can see Jungle Boy and go, this guy has it. He just needs to get rid of the bad habits, but he has it. And Jungle Boy, I think works better when he's led. And there's a fucking car alarm going off outside. What the fuck? But Jungle Boy is a lot better when he's being led by somebody who's really good, like Christian. When it's not, when it's not the elite, when it's not any of his little indie friends, it doesn't work. So, but I really like this match. I got a kick out of Christian coming out wearing a turtleneck, shirt with the sleeves cut off.
That was fantastic.
I loved it. And this, Jungle Boy coming out in jeans. I'm like, all right, so it's a street fight. It makes sense. And again, really enjoy this match. Really enjoyed the shit talking of Christian. I'm just gonna say this. I don't know how you're gonna feel about it. I think Christian is possibly maybe a better shit talker than Edge. Whereas, and I'm gonna explain. I'm gonna explain why.
Yeah, I agree. A better shit talker, yeah. A better shit talker, yeah.
And
he's more vocal in his matches than Edge for sure.
Like Edge to me is always very animated. Even when he was a heel, like he was always very animated. And it's wrestling, so you have to be animated. But like, to me, it always came off as very like cartoonish, where it was like, I'm gonna beat you because I'm the Radar superstar. Like, whereas Christian is more just like, fuck you, you're a prick. Suck my balls. Yeah, I'm gonna fuck your mom, Jungle Boy. What are you gonna do about it, bitch? I don't want to be your dad. Your dad's dead. Like, just like that's good shit talking. It's like, wow, you're a dick. I want to see you get your ass whooped. So I really enjoy this match. The whole concerto spot. It made sense because it happened in the story, so it's a way to close out that chapter. And I thought it was kind of funny and cool at the same time when Jungle Boy put Christian in the casket. And as soon as he closed it, you saw the casket like go all the way down to the floor. You're like, oh shit.
He went straight to hell, Jesus.
Straight to hell. So what they do with Christian after this, I don't know, but I want to see more of him. I want to see what he can do with somebody else that's, that needs it more. And not, action spaghetti or whatever the fuck his name is. But what'd you think about the match?
Very good match. Very good match. And I mentioned this, I mentioned this when MJF won the title. I think Jungle Boy has a chance, if built correctly, to take the title off of MJF. That's probably like a 10% chance, 50% chance. But Jungle Boy, he has the tools. He has the tools. He needs a little bit better on the mic skills, right? He's only 25 years old. He's young, but I think that if they decide to give it a shot, Jungle Boy may be the one to take the title off of MJF. Again, 10% chance. I think there's more people out there who have a better chance, like Hangman, like Adam Cole, guys like that. I think they have better chances to take the title off of MJF over Jungle Boy. But yeah, he looked good in this match here. Now, as much as he looked good in this match, great match, looked very good against Christian. Okay, what's the next step? The aftermath. What's the next step with him? What are we going to do with Jungle Boy? That's the next question that we need to ask ourselves. Because if he's just going to go back and, be off TV for a few weeks and, and come back on TV and this hot and cold stop and push starts, it's not going to mean anything. So, overall, very fun match. You didn't overstay his welcome whatsoever. And, yeah, I like the ending for sure.
All right. Next is a six-man tag match for the AEW Trios Championships. The House of Black, Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews with Julia versus the Elite, Kenny Omega, Matt Jackson, and Nick Jackson with Brandon Cutler and Michael Nagasawa. Okay, it was an okay match. Just kind of typical Elite stuff. I thought the match went on a little. I thought the match went on a little too long. The match went on a little too long. I thought it could have been maybe 4 minutes shorter because there was a point in the match where I'm like, this is the end, and it's not the end. Because
how long was the match? Because to me, it kind of felt like it was in line with some of the other matches.
It was 18 minutes. 18 minutes even. Here's the thing about Young Bucks. They do this thing in matches where it's like, oh, they're gonna actually have a tag match. Oh no, okay, they're gonna do the Young Bucks shit. Okay, there we go. Like they fall into their bad habits of, let's do a super kick. Then I'm gonna do a super kick. Then you're gonna do a super kick. Then he's gonna do a super kick, and we're all gonna do super kicks and super kicks. It's like, how's about actually having a wrestling match?
Don't we see that in elements in WWE matches? I mean, not just super kicks, but just like just all being in the ring at the same time, getting your signature moves off, and things of that nature. Don't we see elements of that? Not just in these matches here, but just in like in WWE matches or other AEW matches, or
and guess whose fault that is? The Young Bucks.
I mean, I don't think it's their fault. I mean, I think it's really. I think placing blame on one team is I don't necessarily agree with that. But I will say this: I do blame. I won't say blame, but I think there's been an influence with indie style from where the Young Bucks came from. So I do. Think that element, that style, has an influence on today's tag team wrestling for sure. But I just don't think the Young Bucks are the ones to blame, like solely per se.
I'm gonna blame them, but this match I thought could have been shorter. I thought it could have been maybe 15 minutes or maybe 14 minutes. Because again, it's just simple. I mean, not simple, but basic kind of indie shit of just like, oh, this is the end. Okay, no, it's not the end. All right, so this is the end. Oh, no, it's not the end. But it's just, again, the match was fine. It wasn't bad. It wasn't terrible. Just in some basic indie shit. But House of Black won. They're the new Trios Championship, or Trios Tag Team Champions. Yeah. I mean, that's really all I say about the match. But what'd you think?
The right team won. That I will say. The match overall, I thought it was. I won't say it was excellent, but it was pretty damn good. The amount of stuff that they were doing in this match, obviously the spots, I won't say the choreography, but the plan out spots with the House of Black and the Elite were pretty good in this match whatsoever. I'm just glad that the House of Black won. You know what I mean? Because they finally win something now again. What is this going to lead to? We kind of know what's going to happen next week, but after that, like, you know, what is the House of Black going to do going forward after next week? So, but yeah, no, right team won. Good moment for Malachi, Brody, and Buddy Matthews for sure. So, I didn't, and I did pick them to win too as well. I didn't think, like, to me, it doesn't make sense for. I mean, it did make sense for the Elite to win, but like, again, like, they booked themselves into the corner with this one because there was no story in this match, and that was one of my things I very much complained about with this feud. Like, it's gonna be a good match, but where's the story, right? And they booked themselves into a corner at the same time because, like, the Elite, they had the 7 match series against, the Death Triangle, right? And then you have the House of Black, who needs a win. So it's like, but is what it is. But good match, though. Very good match.
Next is the 3-way match for the AEW Women's Championship. Jamie Hayter defending the Women's Championship against Saraya and Ruby Soho. This was sloppy. This was a sloppy Joe. This was just sloppy as fuck. Not as good as a sloppy Joe. This was just really sloppy. Saraya is, again, we can make the case of she hasn't had a match in 4 or 5 years, but she is just not good. She is not who she was over a decade ago. Hayter is good. I like Hayter. Ruby, I like Ruby. But this is just a sloppy ass match. This was not a very good match, and just we'll talk about the aftermath. But what did you think about the match?
I disagree. I didn't think this match was fantastic or excellent or anything like that, but I thought the ladies were all very good tonight in the ring. Mm-hmm. Or not tonight, but on Saturday or Sunday. Jesus Christ, that was Saturday. But anyway, I know we're gonna talk about the Ruby turn in a second here, but Jamie Hayter, I love Jamie Hayter. She's damn good. Ruby, she's underrated as well. Saraya, yeah, she did look at. Yeah, I think the worst part of this match was Saraya, for sure. I'll keep it at that. Like, I think she was the worst part of this match, but I didn't think the match overall was terrible or whatever the case may be. I thought it was good.
And then the aftermath being that Ruby turned heel and joined Saraya and Tony's group, which made no fucking sense. It's just like, I guess, was it a spontaneous decision, or was that something she always wanted? Because it's like, if that was a thing that she always wanted, wouldn't it have made more sense for Saraya to help her win? Like, I just it didn't make any fucking sense. I don't get it. Like, I don't know what you think about it. I thought it was stupid as fuck.
I knew this heel turn was coming, like, kind of like with the whole Jey Uso turn on Sami Zayn. Like you knew it was gonna happen. You knew it was gonna be there at the end of the day. To me, it could have been executed a little bit better. I mean, but what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do about that? I mean, it could have been done better for sure. It definitely could have been done better for sure. Just because it's like, hey, you just wrestled, this woman that's been on your team for it was like a 10-minute match or however long it was, right? You know what I mean? Like you had all the time to help her and all that stuff, and it's like, oh, now you're gonna decide to just turn heel now. It's like, I don't know. I don't know if I really fully bought that at the end of the day. But I mean, they have to advance it here, and obviously Ruby, she's former WWE, so it makes sense for her to be with the group 100%. It's just that I just kind of wish that it could have been done a better way.
Right. Next is the Texas death match of bloody death, give me blood or give me death match, with Hangman Adam Page versus Jon Moxley. This was 24 minutes and 45 seconds. I know you like this match more than me. Like, you really like this match a lot more than me. I just, again, Moxley, just how people consider him Wrestler of the Year is just, the guy is, at this point, has become a glorified deathmatch wrestler.
Well, I mean, this was a death match, so.
Well, it's just any match he's in. Like, whether it's an actual death match or just a regular match, it's just the guy always has to bleed. Like, this was just another excuse for him to bleed. It was just, the match went on, I thought, way too long. And just, the whole thing with the fucking fork, I just, I again, didn't care for the match. Just, I don't want to sound like I'm being, Drew Cornette, but it's just, I didn't care for the match. I don't care for these kind of matches. I don't have a problem with hardcore or street fight matches, but if it's just like, we're gonna do indie, stupid indie shit from death matches, it's just, that's where you lose me. So
I'll correct you there. This is ECW. This is OG ECW. This is how I looked at it. An OG ECW match, because you had all the elements of an OG ECW match. That's and people online, and I get it, right? Wrestling is an acquired taste. You can like hardcore wrestling, technical wrestling, cruiserweight, tag team, women. That's fine, right? To me, it's like, to me, there's certain things about wrestling that I love, some wrestling I don't like, but I try to see and understand why people may like the match, and I kind of look at it from that point of view, like, hey, this match is not my cup of tea, but hey, I understand why someone may like this match. A lot of people online, on Twitter, from what I saw on this match, it was like, oh my god, this is a disgrace to the wrestling business, blah, 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 blah. Well, did you not watch ECW? I see in your profile, you got a picture of fucking, Hulk Hogan. Did you not give ECW a chance? Did you not understand ECW? This was, to me, was just an ECW match, and to me, ECW had far worse bloody matches than this here. So maybe I'm just a little bit muted to stuff like this, right? With the fork, that was a little bit disgusting, right? Just with the blood splattering off. But again, I've seen worse before. Has anybody seen the Man's Transit match with New Jack, with the guy's fucking head literally squirting blood like a fucking fountain? That's some of the worst shit I've ever seen. Have you seen the Tapai Tapai glass death match with the Runs, Ian and Axel Run, when they were beating each other with fucking glued tape fists with glass on them? I've seen way worse matches than what I saw on Sunday night. Still, it was a bloody mess, right? Could have been toned down a little bit. Oh, maybe so. But again, I seen way worse than what I saw on Sunday. With the match overall itself, right? There was a lot of spots, right, with the barbed wire. You had the barbed wire boards. You had the spot with Heyman doing the powerbomb on the chair with the barbed wire on there. A lot of barbed wire being used in this match, right? A lot of barbed wire, a lot of bricks. You got the chain that got involved as well. I'm glad that Heyman won this match because, again, the feud started with Heyman getting knocked out from Jon Moxley, right? And, I'm just really glad now they won this match. Now we're going to get a 6-man tag on Dynamite next week, because now the Blackpool Comic Club are now heels. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with the aftermath. I don't agree with the aftermath of what they're doing with Hangman and Moxley. But as far as the match, I like this match. This was probably my favorite match on the card. Not the best match. I think the main event by far was a better match. But this is probably my favorite match on the card, though.
Okay. Next is a singles match for the TNT Championship, Wardlow versus Samoa Joe. This match was 10 minutes and 40 seconds. Wardlow defeating Joe by submission. I wasn't. This is kind of where I started, I guess, tuning out of the show until the main event. I turned away for a second because I was watching Last of Us while this match was happening, and I just turned down because I had the pay-per-view on my laptop.
Yeah.
And I was watching TV, and all of a sudden I looked down and I see Wardlow won the match. So I don't really know what happened in the match other than Wardlow won by submission. But what did you think about the match?
I mean, this was a piss room break match, and I'm not saying because this match was actually good. It wasn't bad. But the reason why this was a piss break match because everyone was such on a emotional high, where if you like that last match or not, with Moxley and Hangman, everyone was like, okay, you know what? Hey, that was a lot to take in. I'm gonna need to go to the restroom. I need to go get some to eat, or in this case, you're watching Last of Us, whatever, right? The match was good. It was good. Wasn't great. Wasn't fantastic. Wasn't match of the year, but it was good. And the fact that, Wardlow won with a submission move to Samoa Joe made him look strong. Well, we're going to talk about Dime after this on how everything was kind of whatever. But, at the point of the time of the match, the white person won, which was Wardlow. But we'll talk about Dynamite after this here. But it was a good match. It wasn't, and again, if I had to rank matches here, I didn't think there was... I think the worst match was probably the women's three-way, right? I'll probably put this match in second to last as far as worst matches. So, but those are my bottom two matches. But yeah, Wardlow winning at the time that happened was good.
Yeah, and then somebody broke into his car and stole his shit. So. But I mean, I don't want to make fun of the guy. That sucks. That sucks that happened to him. If anyone doesn't know, on Tuesday night, Wardlow posted a video showing his rental car being broken into. Not just broken into, like fucked up. Like, so whoever broke in, they stole everything. They stole his championship belt. They stole his ring gear and everything else. Literally everything else. So, and this is the night before Wednesday night on Dynamite. So. Again, sucks for Wardlow. I like Wardlow. I like the guy. He seems like a good dude. So just it sucks for him, and it sucks what happened on Wednesday. That's all I'm gonna say. Next is the 4-way tag match for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. The Guns versus the Acclaimed versus Jay Lethal and Jarrett versus Orange Cassidy and Danhausen. The Guns won, retaining their titles. Again, it was an okay match. It wasn't anything particularly great. It was just okay. And, the Guns won, so good for them. What do you think?
Same thing. Okay match. I thought everyone in this match looked decent to great. No, I feel about Orange Cassidy. No, I feel about the Acclaim. Well, the Acclaim is kind of like, you know what I mean? But I think their gimmick's great. I think they improve well. I like the Guns. Danhausen, he looked, I won't say great, but he did have some pretty, okay, as I mentioned, because I've seen many Danhausen matches before and knowing what he's capable of, but I think a lot of people kind of, they just look at the gimmick and that's all they see. They don't try to look at anything else, but, over that gimmick, though, but he did okay. He didn't do fantastic, but he did all right. I guess with the Guns winning, to me that's the right choice, and they're going to be going up against FTR. FTR did come back after this match here as well, and we'll just have to see where that goes from there, because if FTR loses against the Guns, it's going to be an interesting scenario.
And now we're at the main event. Which is the match everyone's been waiting for, the 60-minute Iron Man match for the AEW World Championship. MJF, the champion, defending against Bryan Danielson. The match was 1 hour and 5 minutes and 20 seconds. Clearly the match of the night, the longest match, not just the longest match of the night, the match of the night.
Right.
I told you before, I didn't hate this match. I actually liked this match. It was really good. I love Bryan Danielson. I like MJF. MJF, to me, I don't think gets enough credit for how really good he is. Like
Right.
Is he like, it's like I mentioned about LA Knight, and I'm not trying to compare the two, but it's just, with LA Knight, it's like, does he need to be AJ Styles? No, sometimes you just need a guy with a character. You need a guy who can talk and, has a good look and can work. He doesn't need to be AJ Styles. He just needs to work. And with MJF, it's like, MJF is clearly a much better worker than LA Knight, but he's not someone that's going to light the world on fire, but he doesn't need to, because he doesn't need to go out there and do the flips and do the dives. He does it if it makes sense for the match, and not just like for some random episode of Dynamite. So MJF, has proven he can work with the best. He can work with CM Punk. He can work with Danielson, clearly. He can work with Darby.
Yeah.
He's capable of going out there and having great matches. So I thought this was maybe the best match I've ever seen him in, and I think this is the best match I've seen Danielson have in AEW. Kind of like you said when we were talking in the chat room, I thought the first half of it was a little slow.
Like first 20 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, then it started to pick up a little bit. I liked MJF, walking around the arena and apparently throwing alcohol on a kid, which I'm just like, oh god. Which we'll talk about that after that. But I like the back and forth action. I was engaged in this match because, like, I don't know how you're gonna feel about the statement. So, like, I know Brian Last, on the Cornette show, he said, in his opinion, he thinks this is the greatest Iron Man match of all time, and him and Cornette talked about the match on their show, where he said, the Shawn and Brett match I thought was a little overhyped because I just thought it was kind of boring, which I'm gonna agree. Like the match with Shawn and Brett, I don't even think that was their best match. Like, a lot of people will say that was their best match. I personally don't. Like, I thought that was kind of like how Last said. I thought it was kind of slow and boring. Whereas
it was very, like, that match, WrestleMania 12, was very important for the significance of a high profile match being in the main event, an Iron Man match that's never been done before. Prior to, I mean, I don't want to say never been done before, but to that magnitude, it hasn't been done before. But yeah, no, I thought this Iron Man match was definitely one of the best I've ever seen for an Iron Man match, for sure. I mean, you could go Sasha Bailey, but that was 30 minutes, right? You could say Kurt Angle Lesnar, right? That was on SmackDown with that was on TV or whatnot, right? A lot of people love Triple H and The Rock. I like that match. I personally would put it up there, for myself. One match that doesn't get one Iron Man match that doesn't get a lot of credit is Cena Orton in 2009 when they had bragging rights. That one. I'm not saying it's the best. I'm not saying it's top 3 even. I'm just saying that doesn't get a lot of credit there. But yeah, this match was fucking good, really good, really damn good. I'm curious tomorrow to see what what the star rating is for this match here in comparison to others, because I like to go back and look at in comparison to others of what was rated what, right? But and just see if that comes with my opinion. But I like, to me, kind of thinking about it a little bit, this is probably the best Iron Man match I've ever seen. Especially the last 40 minutes of it. Once it started turning on, it's not just the match itself as far as like the in-ring work, the psychology behind it, like the one part where Brian got the first pinfall there, then MJF does the low blow, right, and gets 2 pinfalls right after that. You know what I mean? So he sacrificed one pinfall to tie it up. Otherwise, if he didn't do that, like, he was going to be behind one pinfall for a while. So he was like, well, I'd rather be tied up and give him one pinfall versus, being behind one and figure out a way to beat him legitimately. So little stuff like that in this match was fantastic.
Right, and it's just you've got Danielson, who again, said time and time again, the guy knows how to make anyone look good. He gave Paige his best match. He gave Kenny the best match I've seen him in personally, and I preface by saying the best match I've seen him in, because a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, Okada." It's like, well, I didn't really watch those matches. I'm talking about the best match I've seen Omega in. So this is, I think, in my opinion, the best match that MJF has ever had, like bar none, in my opinion. And just the ending, the ending. I'll talk about the ending of the match, but like the ending, of course, it ended in after the 60-minute time limit ended. It was 3-3, and then you got MJF, who brought over the oxygen tank, and Danielson being treated. And I thought that was that was nice. That was just nice attention to detail on MJF's part. And of course, Tony Khan says there must be a winner. This match goes to sudden death. And for a second, I was like, "Oh, is Danielson actually going to win?" And like, I like whenever matches can elicit that emotion out of me, where I'm like, "Are they actually going to win?" Even though I don't think they will. Like, I thought that was good. And then there was a bit with MJF where when the ref wasn't looking, he hits Danielson over the head with the oxygen tank, and then he puts Danielson in his own submission move, and Danielson taps out. So. That was the end of the match. I'm with you. I think this is maybe the best Iron Man match I've ever seen, and I know I said in the chat room, like, I haven't always been the biggest fan of Iron Man matches, because they can either be really good or just wooden. Like, this match wasn't wooden. Like, it, aside from like the first 20-25 minutes, it was just really just fast paced, good storytelling and action. So I love this match. It definitely lived up to the hype, and where does MJF go from here? Like, we'll I guess discuss. I guess we can discuss it right now, because I don't think, did MJF even show up on AEW?
No. Did you see MJF's Twitter?
I did not. What did he say?
Well, hold on. I don't want you to spoil for yourself. I'm gonna put it in the chat. So, did you see? So you saw MJF's head after Revolution, right?
His head.
Because you say you saw the media scrum, right? His part of the media scrum,
right?
So you saw that big old knot on his head, right?
I don't think I did. No.
Okay. Well, he was talking about it like a few times, but anyway, take a look at the chat.
Oh fuck.
That's why he wasn't on Dynamite.
The blood in the hematoma, devil horn on my forehead is now pulled down into my eye. Still the champ, though, and the rats don't seem to mind. Jesus Christ. Oh, boy.
So I would like to think that he looks like fucking Rocky from... Cut me, Mick.
Adrian!
Like that, I've never seen that. I've never, ever seen that from a wrestler. After effects, well, okay, never mind, Joey Mercury, but that was because a ladder fucking hit him. I'm just talking about like a pure hard wrestling match. I've never seen that before.
Oh man, I
I've never seen that before. The after effects of a wrestling match like that.
I mean, fuck, like, he should just take the whole month off if that's the case. Jesus.
Fucking hell, man, that is bad.
Damn. Like that, I'm wincing just looking at that. Oof. But that was AEW Revolution. To me, it's just like, again, just this whole thing of like, it was 9 matches, but it was 9 matches because the main event was an hour. So,
if you had to give it out of 10, what would you give it?
I mean, the main event was great. That was basically the show. I thought the casket match was really good. I mean, was it not a casket match, but was it buried
alive? Or yeah, it's, the final burial, which I actually thought at first I was like, oh well, they're telling us something about Jungle Boy.
Final burial. I thought that was fun. I got to be honest. I mean, I know I'm going to sound like an AEW hater. I would say just like the 2 matches alone, the rest of the show is just bleh. Like, I would say maybe a C minus.
So it was like a 7.
Yeah, I'll give it a 7.
It was like a 7. I'd probably give it like an 8 out of 10.
All right,
8 out of 10. Yeah, there were some of the matches in there that was just there, right? Not fantastic, not great, just there. I really think what hurt this pay-per-view from being a higher rating for me was just the overall lack of storytelling coming into the show. But
right.
yeah, so.
But that was Revolution. Now we're going to talk about Dynamite. So, because I had no internet, I did not watch Dynamite. I mean, I know the things that happened.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to guide me through this. So I'm just gonna,
yeah, for sure.
I'm just gonna bring up the results. So I know that you're changing the name of the All Atlantic title to the All International Championship.
The International Championship, yeah.
And Orange Cassidy's gonna face your boy Jeff Jarrett. So next week, I'm back, baby. I love it. But the first match of the night was Jay Lethal versus Orange Cassidy. I'm assuming Orange Cassidy won because Orange Cassidy is going to defend the newly named championship next week against Jarrett. So
yeah, so Orange Cassidy won. I mean, to me, it's like, why is this match happening? I won't say I'm still not like overly happy that we're going to see Orange Cassidy versus Jarrett, but they may put the title on Jeff Jarrett. They may end up putting this title on Jeff Jarrett, which will be kind of nuts, but it was a decent match. It wasn't great. It wasn't, fantastic, but to me, I'm like, Orange Cassidy versus Jay Lethal again is like their third match in like 4 or 5 months, so it's kind of, I kind of want to see these two back in the ring with each other again for a very long time after last night.
And then, like we mentioned earlier, Ricky Starks and Juice Robinson are in a feud for some reason. So, even though Ricky Starks was like, I'm only going up, I'm not going back down. It's like, well, too fucking bad, Ricky.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not understanding this. This was just like a one-off situation where it's like, hey, Ricky Starks versus Juice Robinson on Rampage, and this just to get Ricky another win, get him on TV. I'm okay with that, but that's not what's going to happen. This seems like it's going to be an actual, maybe a 2 or 3 week story, and I don't know how too fond I am of that. And as I mentioned, if this happens to get Ricky Starks into Bullet Club in some weird fashion, okay, that's different. I don't know if he needs to do that, or if it's something that will enhance him. But okay, but again, I don't. Yeah, I'm not really too thrilled about that.
Next is Renee Paquette interviews Ruby Soho, and she gives her supervillain speech on why she joined up with Tony Storm and Saraya. I saw a lot of people just kind of shitting over this, and not necessarily because it was a bad promo, but because it just AEW can't seem to fill up an arena unless it's a pay-per-view, and just everybody just didn't seem to care about the promo that was inside the arena. But
inside the arena, yeah, I can see that. I thought the overall promo was her explanation was great. I thought she cut a damn good promo, but again, to your point, in the arena, I don't think a lot of people was behind it. But the way that her explanation was good, it was very good, very, very good.
Right. And then Ruby Soho had a match with Sky Blue, and she won.
Yeah.
Let's see. Hangman Adam Page was interviewed by Paquette. Says he's been doing better.
Before that, sorry to interrupt, but before that, after the match, Willow Nightingale came out to the ring, and because obviously there's been, they've been teaming up with each other, Ruby and Willow, and the new trio attacked Willow. So yeah, so we'll just have to wait and see. I think what this is going to eventually lead to will be a women's blood and guts match. So
yay. Next is Adam Page was interviewed by Paquette. So he's been doing better physically, but his soul and heart are doing just fine. He did what he did on Sunday because not because he wanted to, but because he had to, and yada yada yada. He says he's finished with Moxley, and they talk about the MJF and Danielson match. Says he's going to celebrate being the most perfect wrestler in the world. And he's going to do it with a rebar mitzvah. So we got that.
Mm-hmm.
Not really a lot of matches. Seems like a very vignette heavy show.
Well, there was a lot. There was a lot of promos.
Okay. AR Fox and Top Flight versus the Jericho Appreciation Society. Jericho Appreciation Society obviously win the match. Thoughts on the match?
I could have gone without this match, to be honest. Not to I mean, to me, the match didn't really mean anything. Is what happened after the match, where my interest kind of I won't say peaked, but I was like, oh, okay, because it seems like the Jericho, Guevara, and Garcia is now going to be a trios team. So looks like they're going to be going into the trios division with the House of Black and the Elite, and it looks like next week there's going to be a trios match for the trios title. So yeah, because they're going to be in Winnipeg, and obviously Jericho's from Winnipeg, Kenny Omega is from Winnipeg, so gotta have them both on the show, right? Wrestling, so
yeah,
wouldn't make sense for either one not to be there. So yeah, I mean, the match itself wasn't important, but the after effects of the match was a little bit important, and it progressed nicely.
Next is the Beaver Boys. Alex Reynolds and John Silver versus Blackpool Combat Club, Claudio and John Moxley. Blackpool gets the win. And, yeah. So, thoughts on that?
Match itself, I thought the match was good. Very good. I think John Silver and Alex Reynolds, I think they're both underrated for what they do in the ring, and they seem to be I won't say very popular, but they're somewhat popular with the crowd there. Johnny Hungy, you know what I mean? The guy loves to eat meat apparently, but yeah, I mean the match wasn't the best match ever, but it was a good TV match. And obviously after the match there, basically a tease of the Blackpool not a tease, but they did fully turn heel, and I kind of mentioned as well. I'm like, well, Moxley's turning heel. Like, you already see the heel tendencies with Claudio and Wheeler Yuta already. So the beatdown of the Dark Order. Eventually Evil Uno came out to the ring, right? He ended up catching a beatdown as well. And that eventually had Hangman come out to the ring. And, basically next week we're going to see a triple threat. Well, it's not a triple threat, but a six-man tag. Six-man tag with Stu Grayson. Stu Grayson, he's back. And Evil Uno and Hangman versus the Blackpool Combat Club. So, to me, I'm like, why? Like, Hangman just stated that he doesn't want to do anything with Moxley. So, I don't know. I'm not really much looking forward to this match. It's gonna be cool to see Stu. It's gonna be very cool to see Stu because I think him and Evil Uno, when they first came in to AEW, they were the Super Smash Bros. On the Indies, right? And or were they Super Smash Bros. Or just Smash Bros. Something like that. But anyway, I think they're a good tag team. I think they are a very good tag team, but because I think they bounce well off each other with their dynamics. But I'm just not very much so looking forward to this match overall. Like, I get that the BCC just turned heel officially, but again, Heyman's he just said less than 30 minutes ago or 45 minutes ago prior, like, I don't want anything to do with John Moxley anymore. This feud is done. Then the feud continues. It's like, just go fuck off.
Booker of the Year, people. And now we're at the main event of the show. Wardlow defending his newly won AEW TNT Championship versus the winner of the Sonic the Hedgehog ring battle royal ladder match thingy, Will Hobbs, in a Falls Count Anywhere match. And as we learned on Wednesday, Hobbs won the TNT Championship. So, in a span of, 4 days, Wardlow wins the TNT Championship, gets his car jacked, and has his title stolen, and then ends up dropping it to Hobbs. And again, I didn't watch the match. It's just again, weird shit. So just explain the match to me. What happened? What went wrong? Explain.
Nothing went wrong with the match. Like, I thought the match was very good, actually. And actually, I'm don't mind that Will Hobbs won. He very much so deserves an opportunity like this. My issue is that if you're going to have Will Hobbs be the new TNT champion, why did Wardlow win the title in the first place? That's my, like, you know what I mean? That is my thing right there. Why did you have Wardlow win? Like I don't know if this is a I don't want to say a punishment because he got his car broken into. That could be something. I don't know, right? That could definitely be something. I don't know. But fuck me gently with a chainsaw, my friend. Like, why did Wardlow win? Like, now like, you gave Wardlow momentum just to have his momentum stripped away. It's like Wardlow's momentum when he turned on MJF, high as it ever been, right? Then after that, he gets, kind of stale a little bit because a lot of people want to see MJF win where MJF was at, and that hurt Wardlow in the long run, right? Then Wardlow wins the TNT title the first time, doesn't do shit with it. Then he loses it. He loses the TNT title. He ends up getting his hair cut by Samoa Joe, right? And now he wins it again from Samoa Joe, which ends that feud, to eventually loses it in a span of a couple days. And a lot of people are saying, like, this is long-term storytelling with QT Marshall. Look, I don't give a fuck what happened in a backstage segment, with QT Marshall and what happened with QT Marshall and Wardlow from like months ago. I don't give a fuck, right? It's just random with this here. Again, I'm happy that Powerhouse Hobbs won. I'm very happy about that because, I think he deserves opportunity. He really does deserve his opportunity. It's just how they got there is my issue, but it is what it is, man. Wardlow, he's a star. And like I said, the match was good. I had no issues with the match. I had no issues with the winner and the outcome and all that. All I'm saying is that why did you have Wardlow win if this was going to be the end result anyway? Did Wardlow get heat from just leaving his, because his bag was in his car, right? where is he at? You know, how come he didn't take his bag with him? How come the title was in the car? Did he get heat with Tony Khan's like, you know what, fuck this, I'm gonna take the title off of you because you're not taking care of it. But it could be that. There's more to the story that we don't know about, right? But I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure on the purpose of Wardlow winning. So the title in the first place, but.
Yeah, it's just like
good match. Again, good match. Like the match. Thought it was a very good main event. Right person. I love Hobbs. I have no issue with them winning. It's just that initial title win from Wardlow that kind of gets me at this point.
Yeah, it's just I like Hobbs. I mean, we all love Hobbs. It's just how he won it was just weird. Like, you know, again, what was the purpose of Wardlow winning if he was just going to lose it in 4 days? But that's Booker of the Year, people. But
I mean, again, we don't know if Wardlow has heat with leaving his title in the car, and Tony Khan made the decision like, hey, you don't want to take care of the title. And again, this happened to Chris Jericho too, and he didn't get the same type of whatever, right? Like. But I don't know. There's more to the story that we don't know about. So, and this is still young. This has been, at this point, 2 days since the title got stolen, right? We may hear more about it this weekend. We may hear more about it next week. So, I'm kind of leaving that open. But at the same time, looking at it right now, I'm like, why? Like, why did this happen?
But that's Dynamite, guys, and hey, that's the end of the show. We did 2 hours and 51 minutes, and I am so fucking tired. Hey, I'm just ready for this weekend to start. But yeah, good makeup show. Yeah, thank you, Maurice. Again, I'm sorry to everybody that I had to cancel yesterday. It was forces beyond my control. But I'm glad we're back tonight. I'm glad we got this out of the way. I thank you to Jeff Littman for joining us, even for as short as it was. It was still good to have Jeff here, and I still need to get in touch with him on our next Patreon show. And me and Ruben are doing a Patreon show next Tuesday, so look for that to drop. As far as me and RJ goes, we're going to have to figure out a date as to when we can go because, again, work gets in the way, people. We have jobs outside of this Patreon show, so work gets in the way. But Justin, again, thank you for being on the show, as always, my podcasting partner in crime.
As always, man. Fun show tonight. I'm glad that we were able to get it in, and it was a very, I won't say news-packed week, but a lot of things happened over this week, for sure.
A lot of shit happened. The wrestling gods are smiling on us, and they gave us some good shit. They gave us some juicy topics. But we will be back next week, same time, same channel on our regular days of Wednesday. And who knows? Who knows who will be joining us? Who knows what will happen? Who knows what kind of juicy topics that we'll have? So, but Justin, go ahead and plug your stuff.
Yeah, of course, you guys know where to find me on Instagram, SpinebusterTees on Instagram. Follow me there. Looking at this particular point in time, the tenants are scheduled to be moving out at the beginning of next month. So yeah, they're going to be moving out at the beginning of next month. They're actually going to be moving. They're still going to be in the mall. They're moving downstairs into a bigger space. I'll be upstairs in my space, so yeah, it's gonna be fun. But yeah, go to spinebustertees.com. New shirt available for the I Am Pro Wrestling t-shirt in men's, women's, and in tank tops. So if you like to work out, you got that in tank tops as well. And you have about 20 different designs that I'll create myself on spinebustertees.com. Check it out. And yeah, also as well, follow me on YouTube as well. Spinebuster Tees on YouTube, where you have the live streams whenever I go live here, and also as well, eventually I'll be doing some single form content store tours, things of that nature, as well, to get more eyes on the business too. So, spinebustertees.com. Check it out. And spinebustertees on Instagram.
And you know where to find me on social media. What is it? Social media, Instagram, Twitter. On Twitter mostly. So Drew Yari. I'm pretty sure most of you follow me. Instagram. That's kind of like a half and half. It's like a personal account. It's a show account too, but it's more so a personal account. I have Justin here. I think I have pretty much everybody that's a friend of the show. And I have a Facebook page if you want to follow that. As far as the show goes, you can hear me anywhere. I'm on Google Play or I keep calling it Google Play, Google Podcasts, iTunes, Spreaker being the home base. I'm on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel, so if you guys will be so kindly to follow me on there to, I guess, build up my following. So I don't know. Maybe I can get monetized by YouTube. Who knows? But help me build those numbers up, people. And also Patreon, like I just mentioned. I do a show with Jeff Littman, which is called Garden of Droom, which that's usually a monthly show. So we're going to try and get one out as soon as possible. I just need to think of a topic of discussion for Jeff to talk about. So I do a show with RJ called Attack of the Savage Nerds, which we need to get one of those out pretty soon. And I do a show with Ruben Prime called Culture Attack, and we should be recording next Tuesday. So, and it's only $5 a month, people. It's Patreon. It's a damn good deal, if I must say. $5 gets you everything. And also another note: the show that I do with Monty and RJ called Trifecta Threat is Trifecta Threat is now on my platform on Spreaker. Monty asked me if I can put the shows on, from here on out. It'll be on my platform. It'll no longer be on Monty's platform. It'll be on mine. So if you want to check out the episodes are already up there. I'm not the host of the show. Monty is. It's a really fucking good show. I love doing it. I mean, I love this show too. I just like being a guest. Sometimes it's fun being a guest. So it just takes the pressure away from you of being the host. You can just sit there and just have fun. And I have fun on the shows. I have fun on this show. I have fun on those shows. I have fun on all shows. So look for that. Let's take a look at that. We've already done 9 episodes. So check it out. It's pretty good. It's really good, actually. And
I have the Q&A show coming up too.
Oh, Q&A show will be next Saturday. Not this coming Saturday, but next Saturday. But it'll be the only Q&A show of the month, unfortunately, because there was a lot going on this month. So look for that to drop, and I can already see some questions coming in. So just build up the questions, people. Put in as many questions as you want, and just try not to clog up the questions tab, for conversations. Leave the conversations for the actual chat room. So just so it's a lot easier to find the questions. So, but anyways, guys, that is the show. We will see you next Wednesday on our original night. And Goof posted something. He says the WNC show returns at 6 p.m. Central this Saturday. Stop by and hear one of the worst podcasts you've never heard of before. Yeah. Well, yeah. Hey, guys, check that out. Check out Goof's show. Check out the worst podcast that you never heard of.
The worst podcast you never heard of.
Kind of like how, oh God, what's that barbecue place in town? They call
Rudy's.
it the worst Rudy's, the worst barbecue in Texas.
Yeah, which is really nice, pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's pretty damn good. But anyways, guys, peace out. We'll see you next week, and I don't know, have fun. Take care.
Have fun. Peace out, guys.